And George was a big inspiration for me because I remember watching you and I thought to myself, I can't do Mexican humor because nobody will ever be as good as George. So I don't want to compete with George. I don't want to do my mom, my dad, the Mexican humor because this motherfucker covered everything.
You did.
So he inspired me to go, I'm not doing that because I can't fucking touch this guy.
Hello, everyone. Hola, mis amigos. You're listening to Oh My God, Hi, Hijo de Dios. Hola. With me, George Lopez. Porque, ¿sabes qué? Let's do the show. Porque I got a lot of things to do. I gotta go to that dry cleaner ahí. My kid fell. Se pegó la cabeza. I gotta go get some Neosporin Paul.
You know what George is?
Oh, I'm sure he's around here somewhere.
What's his name? George?
Lopez.
George Lopez.
Oh my God!
OMG.
OMG! Hi!
Oh my God, hi. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 57, has all your Super Bowl action that you need.
Download DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code OMGHI. New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code OMGHI. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. That means these dudes, they go by the letter of the law. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. Does it matter how much money you bet? I think if you bet $5.
$5.
And you win, winning is winning. That's really what it's about.
That's it.
It never worked out for me. I was seventh grade. I was already this big.
Aha. You were?
Oh, yeah. I was that kid. Mustache, the whole fucking thing.
Oh, shit. There was a guy that, Enrique Hernandez, his dad owned the gas station on San Fernando Mission and Laurel Canyon. Enrique was in fourth grade. That motherfucker had a beard.
Full fucking beard.
I swear to God.
Hey, what are you doing here,
He
bro?
already had the gas station hands where you couldn't clean them because his dad always had them working.
The oil and shit.
Had a fucking beard, Enrique. He was
Pelos on the huevo.
He would come with a fucking Texaco shirt with a said Enrique, and we're like, man, that's fucking badass. He goes, I'm fucking working. I'm fucking 11 years old, man. My dad has me out there fucking changing transmissions. He's like, fuck that shit. Man, I wonder what Enrique's doing. He probably
owns a
Some
dealership.
fucking illness. I saw a little on the internet the other day. A little
You
kid.
drink or not?
Yes. I'll have
beer.
one with you. What is it? I don't drink beer, but I'll try it. I'm interested.
I don't drink beer either. Fucking Gil's got me all fucking.
All pedote.
Bullshit.
Drink this shit.
All retired. He's already got you all fucking
He's all
retired.
fucking retired.
I saw some kid. The kid couldn't have been 3-4 months years old. Already had fucking long ass hair right here, hair like this. Looked like a freak. I told my wife, I had to shot the fucking kid. I thought it was a devil.
How old was he?
He was only about 2 months, 3, and long fucking hair all over his legs.
All right, we're going to probably lose the part where Gil wants to shoot a 2-month-old.
Yeah, cut that. Cut the.
There's 2-year-olds, there's 2 months old that get shot.
Hey, that's pretty good, dude.
They get yeah. Is it?
Good.
Thank you.
I thought I was
That's the
gonna
only
have to.
place I drink beer.
I thought I was gonna have to lie to you. I'm like, shit. It's not bad.
Ah,
Fuck.
are we rolling?
Oh, chingao, right?
What else? What have you been doing?
Nothing. I lectured at a winery the other day. It was good. It was fun.
so
it was good. It was good.
so Steve has been a comedian for a long time.
Long time, 20.
25 years?
Right around 20.
Did you start before you only 20?
21 years. I met you at the Addison Improv in 2000
Oh,
when I was working the door there.
wow. You worked the door. But you were a comedian already, though.
Yeah, I was already doing stand up, trying to get my way.
Okay.
And by the way, so let me brag about you for a little bit.
No, don't brag about me because that's a.
No, everybody was like,
Are you bragging about me, or are you saying that I held you back in show business?
No. Can I brag about you? Shit,
right.
dude. I just got here. No, so back then, we're talking about 2000. The only comics that I knew at that time, and I didn't know George, right? I knew Mencia and I knew who Paul Rodriguez was, right? The club starts freaking out. Get ready.
You mean
get
Carlos
ready.
Mencia?
Yeah,
Okay.
but people were like, get ready.
Because people say Mencia. I know a dude, Raul Mencia. No, I don't.
No.
It's a made-up name.
Ned.
Nobody has that name.
So anyway,
Isn't it a made-up name?
yeah, it's made up.
Yeah, it's like Clem Cadiddlehopper, like some Disney name.
Cadillo hopper.
They're like, you don't ever see one. Look at the phone book. You won't ever see another Mencia Motors. No, you won't see that shit. All right. Sorry.
So anyway, I'm working the door. The club's going crazy. At that time, it was Trey who was the GM.
Trey Blue.
Trey goes, my favorite comedian's
He
coming.
needed the money.
George Lopez. And I'm going, George Lopez? Like, he goes, get fucking ready. This guy's going to show up, and this place is going to be a fucking madhouse, right? So sure enough, that week, I'm answering phones, and it is just 10 tickets, 15 tickets. I need 13 tickets. I need 40 I mean, fucking
You think that was
sold out.
Trey just calling over and over?
Yeah, it was Trey. Same credit card.
Same
There's something weird. It's the same fucking credit card, man. But this guy walks in, wearing a suit. Never seen him before.
Oh.
And motherfucker, I was rolling. And I was like, holy shit. This guy is fucking hilarious. And to me, it was weird. And I've been so excited to come on your podcast because I've met you. We've hung out.
Yeah.
I've never had the opportunity.
We've never had this opportunity to speak in face-to-face.
Face-to-face. Well, and we've had drinks and we've hung out,
Yeah.
but not like this. So
Right.
my thing was, I'm like, how the fuck is this guy not huge? Annihilated the room, completely sold out. And I'm sitting there going, so I wanted to ask you, because I know how hard it is for me in this business. What was the first, was Paul already on the scene when you got on the scene?
Well, you have to go back to 1979. 'Cause
79?
I was still in high school. So Paul, and here's the thing that we have to clear up. First of all, when we talk about people on this podcast, we talk about everybody. I
Right.
talk about myself. We talk about your kids. We said things, but somehow when Willie Barcena was on, who is crazy like he's crazy.
Hey, fool.
Hey, fool. So,
Hey, bro.
and we talk about Rudy.
You want to wrestle, bro?
Rudy's all sentido, and everybody gets all hurt. Paul Rodriguez got all hurt. Fuck Paul Rodriguez and fuck. Listen, if you can't talk about people in this show, everybody talks about everybody in comedy, and everybody talks about everybody in podcasts. It ain't meant to offend you. It's not meant to send you all to fucking desvelado. Oh, fuck him, man. Fuck everybody. When it comes to podcasts, there's nobody that.
And not only that, we're all part of the same fucking world.
There's nobody that is like above any mention, especially in podcasts. Most of the podcast guys are talking shit about themselves.
I'm
So
telling
somehow I get back. Oh, Paul's mad, and now Felipe Esparza's like, hey fool, because I guess he loves Paul or something. Like I mean, this is some bullshit. Like.
Well,
Like the goddamn Ryan's Hope. They used to come on ABC like 11:30.
Here's what I will say. I will say that
Fucking Ryan's Hope.
early on in my career, I would look at George and go, "Hey, George, help me," right? And now that I've been in this business for so long, that's why I wanted to have this.
But you said
conversation.
that I never helped anybody, which I would have to say that that's correct.
Well, but can let me go back.
But I'll explain to you the reasons why.
Well, so let me say what I want to say is now that already ya estás más pedo que la fregada.
Cabrón.
We got
You know what? Because I'm so nervous because I've never had to address my improprieties.
no. It's but now that
Are you my tío?
Maybe I'm a fucking fool. I don't know. I think I am, but
my dad smells like hard work. I'm like, oh, it's beer. That's beer.
I'll be like fucking
No,
Enrique with a
but
fucking
once
beard.
I've been in this business for 20 years, and I realize how very difficult for the Mexican American this business is, I learned to gain a new respect.
Would you say it's
for
difficult
George.
for everybody though? It's hard for everybody.
1,000%. So when I was young and dumb and I said, hey, I wish George would help me, I didn't realize how hard it had been for you and how you were trying to hold on to your career.
Right.
Because when I met you and you were fucking annihilating the stage,
Right.
annihilating, and I mean this by no offense, you did not have a big career.
No, I did not.
I didn't know who you were.
No, I was very regional.
And it was one of those things where as I've gotten older, I go, well, that's why I was excited about this podcast, because I'm like, I want to know your path, your story.
Motherfucker, we're not here to talk about me. We're here
I want to talk about you
Here to talk about you.
because I don't think people realize
You know what? They don't give a fuck.
they do.
They only care.
The first time I came down here,
No.
I really didn't even know there was a podcast.
They don't. Listen, man.
You invited me down here for a beer. I came down here for a beer. Then I find out this is a podcast, and this is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you've got some other badass shit.
It's like coming to a comedy show every week. And I remember Bobby Lee sat right here, and he asked me, he said...
Did he get naked?
No. He told me, he said, motherfucker, stop making me... He pulled up his shirt, and he wiped his face because he was crying. With his panza right there. Oh, you stop, motherfucker, you made me cry.
I've seen that guy naked too many times.
But doesn't Bobby Lee have a career that people thought Bobby Lee would be further ahead? Can we say?
I think so. I mean,
because Bobby Lee, when he was doing Mad TV, Bobby Lee's fucking incredible.
Oh, super talented.
And then with a podcast like Bobby Lee doesn't really even have to do stand-up.
Bobby Lee's just Bobby Lee.
Bobby, yeah. And he was doing some movies, but yeah, there's cats that come up, man, and pop their head out and they go back. I mean, we'll talk about it, but it's tough. So go ahead. So 20 years ago.
So, again, when I was younger, I made the mistake of thinking to myself, well, it's George's responsibility. And it's not your responsibility. And not only that, to realize now that I've been in this business I kill. And I've been killing on stage forever. No TV show for me, no movies for me.
Right.
I'm self-producing, right? So when you look at and then you think about, here's fucking George Lopez, who has a hit TV show on ABC and had not had an HBO special.
NBC. No.
We're talking about the first one.
No, the original one.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're too busy over there fucking culiando with the chinos in Chinatown trying to catch.
Gil, it's Thursday, sir.
Wear dresses.
Today's Thursday.
With fucking ladies with men, fucking calzones.
February 2nd,
There ain't nothing
Thursday.
wrong with
We're trying to
calzones.
tell if it's a fucking moco or meco. The game show that's sweeping Chinatown. Moco or meco?
Moko. So, again, you're not even on fucking HBO,
No.
yet you have a hit TV show.
Was that the way guys were getting it back then?
I've had a lot of, as I've gotten older and been in this business longer.
But is that what you thought that maybe from the Tonight Show, or Drew Carey made it from the Tonight Show?
Right.
Drew Carey was living in his car.
And then boom.
They did the Tonight Show, and that fucking Tonight Show that he did was like the one Freddie Prinze did, where
Star.
you go, Johnny Carson calls you to go over, and Drew Carey was just. And if anybody is into comedy and doesn't know who Drew Carey is, maybe because of his TV show was like maybe 15, 20 years ago, or
He's Price is Right
Price
guy
is
now.
Right.
Yeah.
That motherfucker caught lightning in a bottle at the biggest point in any comedian's career. The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson fucking killed him. And then got called over, and then I think was working on the Drew Carey show with Bruce Elford back
And then it's deal, show.
I just did a documentary involving Drew Carey a couple of weeks ago. It aired on Discovery One. It was the girl that he had as his fiance while he was working Price is Right. Then she got murdered. And I did the discovery. Drew Carey was about Drew Carey and how he loved her and how he brought her on.
Can we ring a bell every time that we talk about murder? The first
I was
time,
gonna say,
because
we're back at murder again.
People are like, hey, I love your podcast, man, but you always talk about murder. I said, no, we don't. We're going to ring a thing, and then we'll go over.
It's
Take
a
a
dying
drink. It's a
subject.
drinking
The murder,
game. Take a drink every time you hear murder. You hear murder.
All right, so go ahead. So, and then what?
That was it.
Who killed his girlfriend?
Some guy. I don't fucking remember his name. I just did the show. I was aftermath. It wasn't my case.
All right. Well, thanks.
So,
It hasn't been adjudicated.
So-
He's still going through court right now.
Miralo?
what year was the year that you
Adjudicate-
walked into a comedy club?
June 4th, 1979.
No
Monday
shit.
night.
What club was it?
At the Comedy Store in Westwood. I was still in high school. I was getting ready to graduate. We graduated the 11th.
So the only comedian that was around of any Latino descent was Freddie Prinze.
At that point, yes. I hadn't seen Paul, nor I think Paul was already working in the clubs, but I hadn't seen him yet until maybe a month after that. He walked in. He was pretty. Paul was pretty good back then. He was fucking good.
Well, I mean, so that's what's crazy to me, right? So I start doing stand up in '99, and at that point,
And what made you? Because Steve is from those places where Germantown or he's from Portland, Texas.
there's nothing.
There's got to be nothing there, right?
Refinery workers and cotton farmers, and that's it.
And that's small town. You know, people that listen to this stuff from all over the country, like you can come from a small town and do something. Like people, sometimes they get stuck in the small town and they want to stay there. They don't think that there's a world out there. There's a world out there. And what's your first memory of like growing up in Portland?
I always tell this story, and I think we all grew up very similar. Barbecues on the weekends, men outside, women inside, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
All the men would be
How come you laugh?
You know, it's such a small town. I just picture. I thought it was just cow shit all over the place. You know,
Yes.
small little town.
Yes.
You know, they're playing with the animals.
Yes.
What else there to do in a small
I
town?
would say Zimbabwe, motherfucker. I
No,
said
but
Portland,
it's-
Texas.
I mean, that's
And he's
Fucking-
agreeing with me.
It's pretty much like that.
the
right?
fucking Wild Kingdom or what? All right,
It's
sorry.
pretty much Wild Kingdom. So I remember one party. I must have been 6 or 7 years old. Everybody's in the living room, moms and dads, and they're dying laughing. And I walk over, and it's HBO Richard Pryor. Oh. And Richard
The
Pryor.
one in Long Beach,
and
the red shirt one.
Yep, the red shirt one. And I thought to myself, whatever the fuck he's doing,
Wow.
has got my mom and my dad in the same room.
Wow.
And then, so from then, I would watch comedy. I'd
That's the
repeat it.
first time that you saw a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, on HBO. And it's one of those memories. You know how it is. Like
Yeah.
it's etched in your brain.
Yeah, I have that.
You know, I was probably like 8, and I just remember like everybody's laughing. I'm going, what
Yeah.
the fuck is going on? And I'm sneaking a peek, and it's Richard Pryor.
And they were sitting around watching like HBO.
HBO.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, that's a job? I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
So then from then on,
And then who did you see after?
then it was Eddie Murphy.
Right.
And then, you know, shortly after that, Def Jam started coming out.
Right.
I'm waiting up late at night to watch the Def Jams.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the first place I had seen any Latino doing stand-up was HBO. Because Paul had done Sam Quinton on
Right.
HBO,
Right.
and then Mencia had come out on Def Jam.
Right.
But I have to be honest. Those are the things that made me go, "Oh, I can do it." As a Mexican American,
Yeah.
Here's one. They're doing it. Well, I'm going to do it.
How would you describe their styles to you? Let's say you go back then. How would you describe? Let's break down their styles and let's break down who they are and where they got those styles. Can you? Because you go back. I go back.
You know, Paul. Well, you know, Mencia has this kind of. I always say it's the if you're not laughing, you're dumb. That's his.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, you don't get it. It's because you're dumb. I'm so smart, and if you don't laugh, it's because you're dumb. And then he would trick the audience into going, "Oh shit, I better laugh."
But he was kind of smart though, right?
He's very smart.
He's a very smart guy.
People don't realize that Mencia got invited to MIT. People don't realize that Mencia is a certified genius.
Is that true?
Yes, he's very, very intelligent. Very.
Got
very
invited to Mitt.
Yeah, to pinche Mitt.
That's what I'd be saying. You got invited to Mid, eh? That's bad.
That's good, right, Mitt?
Yeah, so he did. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
How come he doesn't say that?
I'm sure he said it, but he's very intelligent.
Are you sure
guy.
another comedian didn't say it and he said it? No.
And
Or is it real? I don't know. I'm just asking.
sí o no? Sí o no? Sí o
I've
no?
been
We don't know.
victimized. You know, you don't when you've been stolen from, you don't ever take the side of the thief. You take the side of the law.
And then Paul for me seemed like an uncle
Yeah.
to me. You know, Mencia seemed more. You know, oh, this guy's a little more.
But he
hip,
was fucking
you know.
out there, Mencia was.
Yeah.
He was out there.
I remember he was doing this thing called Judge Carlos.
Yep.
Or something.
Great.
I'm Judge Carlos. Here's the case.
It was great.
You know, and then Paul for me was like, oh, that's like my uncle. You know what? You know.
You
Yeah.
sound like
¿Sabes qué? Hey, we were. You ever, you gotta, Mexican frisbees. You gotta throw a tortilla.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Which again,
That's it. That's.
you know, I worked with Paul for Jeff Valdez in San Antonio. Pobrecito, man, he's tired.
Oh, recently?
Oh man, he was hosting and he'd be in the back, ahí roncando.
Oh, what happened? What happened?
I don't know. And I went over to say hi to him, and he was like, "Oh, hey," you know, he just seems tired, man.
How old is he? He's got to be almost 70.
But for me, the point I'm trying to make is for.
I'm 73. Yeah, I ain't falling asleep. Yeah.
Hey, Tim, check how old Paul Rodriguez is on your phone.
He can't be older than
But my point is, I had people as a young man that I looked at and said, "Oh, I can do it."
Right.
You fucking didn't.
Well,
Freddie Prinze, I would assume.
but he died when I was in 10th grade.
Oh, so you weren't even yet, but did he inspire you to do stand-up?
Yeah. Let's see. You know, Paul, here's the thing about both of them. Both of them have a lot of swagger. Like back then, let's say back then, Paul Rodriguez had an attitude of, he was funny, it was kind of smart, it was different, you
How
know.
much? 68.
Probably 68. Yeah, he's Yeah.
You know
So-
what? I'm 68. You know.
Yeah. So,
You know. Hey. You know.
there was a time when I think DC Cab was out. Paul was really hot in the early 80s.
Well, that's when the Comedy Store was blowing up.
The Comedy Store was hot. So me and Ernie went to go. I would think I might have performed at the Comedy Store or not, but then I went up first because I was 18. You had to be 21, so they'd make me go first, and then I'd go outside, which is awful. By 8:30 it was jammed. By 8 o'clock when I went up, nobody was there, and then I'd leave 3 minutes, and then I'd leave, and then we'd hang around outside, and then we'd hang around the back of the room. And one time, Paul had like a leather jacket with like some feathers on it. It was rolled up. And me and Ernie were back there, and he was a guest, and he went in there, and he fucking killed. I mean, everything killed. And we were just looking at each other like,
Oh shit.
wow. And I'm going to say this. I said it. And Ernie's not alive anymore, but out of respect for him, we were leaving the Comedy Store, and I looked at Ernie, and I said, by the time I get that good, imagine how good that guy's going to be. And I never saw him that good again. I never saw him that good because Paul relied on swagger and not material. Great improviser.
Right.
But you're not gonna survive being an improviser. You have to have some material.
I've always said that the younger cats are able to catch up because, well, George Lopez is now doing a TV show, right? When George was on stage week in, week out, fucking annihilating rooms, getting that material tighter and stronger, and well, you took a break from that to go do a TV show.
Right.
I didn't.
Right.
That was my time to go,
That's
hey,
right.
I'm going to fucking catch up. Oh, George is doing a movie? Motherfucker ain't doing stand-up. I'm doing stand-up.
Right.
Right? So that probably would
But
happen.
only me, or you thought of all other comedians?
All comedians, period. Right? Well, because
I think it's like boxing. I think when you're
1,000%.
I think when you're a boxer, are you telling another boxer, hey, wake up at 5 so we can go running?
Fuck
go
no.
fucking running by yourself.
But at the same time, right, these young comics, when they're young, they look at, say George or even myself where I'm at in my career, and they go, well, why can't I have that? Motherfucker, you're a baby. You
Right.
just started.
Right.
I was doing the math today. I'm on 11,000 shows. 20 years, 8 shows a week, 48 weeks a year. I mean, the motherfucker,
That's a lot.
start chingándole.
Yeah.
Let's go. So when I met you, it was fucking George walked in there, just laid the hammer down. And I had never seen anybody tag the way you did.
Right.
And call back. Motherfucker, this guy, the whole show, something that he improvised.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you doing this fucking bit about the cab driver pulling a turd out of his ass to fucking. You were just improvising. And you go, the damn cab driver smelled so bad, I had to pull a turd out of my ass just to help. And then you were doing the
And the snake came out of the basket.
motherfucker, dude. And that shit
I
was.
did that thing with a thing that and a flute, and then the snake came out, and I did the snake.
But
with
he
my
would do
hand like that.
snake behind his
Remember
head.
I did the snake like that? It smelled like that. I pulled a piece of caca, and then the guy was in, and then play the music, and the fucking cobra came out of the basket.
But early on, I blamed you when I should have been blaming the industry. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't know. I was in the
man.
industry.
I don't know. I think, you know what? I don't know, man. I mean, it's like, who knows what's going to happen? Nobody really knows.
Nobody knows.
So nobody knows. So, with me or whatever, I mean, Paul had, Norman, a.k.a. Pablo, it only went 2 weeks or whatever, but, he never made it back.
Right.
So when you're out there, you don't know if you're going to be around 2 weeks or 102 weeks or 120 weeks.
It's a scary feeling.
Will you give me permission to say something?
You don't need
Please.
permission, motherfucker. Just say it.
Please.
What, you want another beer already?
No, yeah. I'll take it. The analogy you gave of Paul being an uncle. I will say this. The first time I met George in here.
Motherfucker, why is it always got to be about me, eh?
Well, no.
I don't know. It's called
I'm going to
the
refer to.
fucking.
I'm
It's
going to
called
refer to Paul.
Oh My God High with George Lopez.
With George.
Oh, man, hey, how come Gil's
I'm going to
name's
refer
not
to about Paul.
What is in there? Leave me out of
I
this.
was asked, Bobby Lee says, hey, were you nervous to come down to meet George? And I said, no, absolutely not. He's nothing more than human. I was excited because he's a celebrity. I've paid good money at least 5 times to go see him in shows. I mean, I thought he was great. He was funny. And I wanted to go back, see him again and again and again. I still like going to see him. I never once put a nickel down to go see Paul Rodriguez. And
Because?
he was funny, but he wasn't rip-roaring, make my gut roll.
But wouldn't you say, George, that that's because you got passed up?
Passed up by what?
Why you turned into a stand-up monster? See, I become a monster on stage because that's all I do.
Right.
Every weekend is me doing stand-up for the past 20 years, right? I'm not taking a break to do movie. I didn't break young. I didn't break early. You know, and same with you. You were in the fucking clubs.
I was.
And you had to earn, back then there was no social media. You had to earn every single fucking fan that walked in the door.
Yep.
So if George Lopez isn't killing that night, they walk out there and number one, they don't come back. And number two, they're not going to bring other people.
I had a high percentage of success. Like I was like, let me just stay in there where
It was just
because you know the same thing with you is that when you're going to places every week, you can't worry about the room every week. So your act has to be up to in a point where wherever you go, you know you're going to be right down the middle and fucking solid because it eliminates a bunch of worry flying in to a town you've never been to and you look out there and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to be funny or all this bullshit. And if you're consistent, you're gonna rest easier. You're gonna have better time. You're not gonna drive yourself crazy with who's in the audience and who's not in the audience.
Well, what was even more trippy about you too is that even though I had never seen this guy, all these fans in the audience were quoting him. Like it was crazy to me that people would be like, right now, and then George would be like, I'll get to that fucking joke. Relax.
later.
You know, later, right? And I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
He was just so real. My suegra, the stuff you talk about your thing, you go to the wedding, hey, bring me a plate. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to that wedding because, she was a puta. That was my mother-in-law.
The one that said, "Are you going to the?" I went to the first two.
Yeah.
I
That's my
getting married in a
suegra.
white dress. Está más puta que la cabrona.
That's my suegra.
Trying to get married with a white dress with black sleeves.
But that was what was funny is that he would bring those characters. You would bring those characters back through the fucking act.
with a little hole in the front.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's the fucking Tia again
Yeah.
from earlier,
Yeah.
you know. But wouldn't you say that scrapping in the clubs the way that you were is why you were able to, in my opinion, surpass Paul? Paul will always be Paul. But Paul has not made as many movies as you. Paul has not has as many TV shows as you. Paul has not
Right.
done what you have done.
No, not even close. But
Shouldn't you be at the Pro-Am right now? What the fuck's going on?
no, I stopped going there like 10 years ago.
Oh, see, my bad.
But you know, not to you know, it's just different choices, man, different things. You know, whatever happened to Paul after DC Cab and after AKA Pablo, I don't know. You know, he had a HBO special called "I Need the Couch" or some shit, but he never caught what he had the first time.
Right.
But I would say because, and I've been around him forever, so I'm not talking like somebody that I'm unfamiliar with. I've known him for 40 years. That he never worked. He never sat down and worked.
Hustled.
Or he hustled, but he never worked on his act.
Well, so I got to host one time. It was called the Three Amigos Tour. And it was the most uncomfortable shit I had ever experienced in my life.
It's true.
And it was Mencia, Lopez, and Rodriguez. Dallas, Texas, Bronco Bowl, which is fucking gone. So Trey calls me up. They go, hey, they need an opener for this Three Amigos Tour. Go do it. I'm like, oh my God, I had already met George. I'm like, oh my God, I'd be with George and Paul and Mencia, and oh my God, and motherfucker, dude. Paul's in one green room, George is in another, Mencia's in another, Paul's not happy, George is fucking pissed, Mencia's talking shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then Mencia runs the light by 8 minutes, walks in the room to George and goes, here's your fucking money. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Well, later on, I had found out that these guys had to fine him every minute that he went over. Because he would fucking do 30 minutes over his time.
Because you're only supposed to do your time. So how do you get somebody to do their time if they want to go over? Is you fine them for the money that time they go over.
It was but why did all that happen with Latinos?
Because, well, I don't know if it happens with everybody, but we weren't, I mean, Mencia was like thieving. So it was like you're doing a show with a guy that has thieved you. So you're like, are you happy to be in that show? Not really. And then Paul
Was that an ego thing for Paul?
I'm not sure. But it didn't go past how many dates there was. I mean, it didn't go past, I don't know, 5 dates.
It was.
We made some pretty good money, but.
And then you guys split off and did the Latin Kings.
Yeah, with Cheech, yeah. That wasn't much better.
And then Freddie Soto and Paul. I ended up on that one. So then I ended up hosting the Mencia, Freddie Soto, God rest his soul, and Pablo Francisco. And then you guys, Alex Raimundo, Joey Medina, Cheech,
Right.
and
Me and
Paul did the Latin Kings, right?
Yeah. But, we didn't, nobody got along, so. With DraftKings Sportsbook, Gil, you could bet what color the Gatorade is going to be. You could bet if it's going to be a touchback or a safety. You could bet how long the national anthem is going to be, and that's why they're the premier place. Are you ready for the biggest Sunday in sports? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 57, has all of the Super Bowl action you need.
New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get on the Super Bowl 57 excitement with DraftKings Happy Hour special boosts. Check the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day between 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific to see what prop bet will be boosted.
Okay, check this out. When Denver played in that Super Bowl, before the Super Bowl, I had an intuition that it was going to be a safety on the first play, and I didn't bet, and it was a safety on the first play. And with Sports King, I probably would have cleaned up. Wow. I had a feeling that it was going to be a safety on the first play.
Wow.
And
That'd
it was,
something.
and it didn't happen. I didn't bet. That's why even if I would have bet $5. So any bet, it's always good to win. It's always good you feel like you're winning. So if you don't have a lot of money, somehow the game is different when you have a bet on it. Doesn't matter how much money you have on it.
Sure, you have an interest in it. You got money.
Well, they say you have
We're
skin in the
pools.
game. John Holmes told me that one day.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code OMGHI.
New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 already and get $200 in bonus bets instantly only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code OMGHI.
Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. Recently, because of this thing that you mentioned, you brought up, they're all sentido, they do this. I had heard about the...
So they're all, am I making it up?
No. It was
But
definitely...
you know what it is, Gil?
My daughter called me and says, "Hey, Dad, did you see what's out on the internet, out on Instagram or something about, it was Felipe interviewing Paul and
But
it was wrong."
The problem is
so,
that Hollywood leaves us crumbs, and then we're fighting over those fucking crumbs like perros.
I don't know if that's true.
You don't think so?
I don't know. What year are we talking about?
I mean, look, man, I every special that I have out, I have produced myself.
I saw that. And
You
that's
know.
not easy to do.
It's not easy to do, and I'm proud to say that now. I mean, and again, you have that fear of, oh my God, it could go away.
Let's talk about
Right.
producing a special for people that don't know what that's like.
It's
you pick a place, right?
my first special because I'm from the Corpus Christi area. I walk into the arena with my wife and I say, "Hey, I had a Showtime special that barely aired." I go,
What was that one called?
Grandpa Joe's Son.
Okay.
And that was a Scott Montoya produced special. They went to Showtime.
Did you make money off that?
Fuck no. And then Showtime.
Does Scott Montoya owe you money?
Yeah. Lots of it.
Now he's going to get mad because we said he owes
Yeah.
him money.
But
He owes me money too for Latin Kings of Comedy, but that's different.
but Showtime was like,
spook.
we'll play Steve Cinco de Mayo. We'll play Steve in September. So I got like 2 months of airtime on that fucking special. Yeah.
You went to the arena and then what did you say to him?
I said, "Hey, I'm going to film a special here in Corpus Christi."
And they said-
had zero fucking production, had zero money, had zero fucking. I go, "I need the venue."
But you had to have lights and cameras and all that stuff, right?
I hadn't had it yet. I just walked in con los huevos, bro. That's why my company is called With Lots of Eggs, con muchos huevos.
Oh, good.
Right.
That's nice.
So I walk in. I say, "Hey,
That's a
I'm
good
gonna
name.
I'm gonna film
Yeah.
a special here," and they go, "Oh, well, he already has a Showtime special. The guy's gonna do it." I walk into Budweiser and I go, "I need $10,000 sponsorship.
Fuck.
I'm filming a special." They wrote me a check. That was the down payment for the American Bank Center.
Wow.
And then my wife goes, now what? And I go, we're going to find a fucking production company. And she's like, who's going to pay for that? I go, I don't know, the door, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So we started, putting it out there and trying to get, then all of a sudden Levity came on board and they said, well, we'll produce it, but we're first money in, first money out. I said, okay, fine. So I go, but I still own it. So I held on to 60% ownership.
Good. Yeah.
And went in there. We ended up selling 5,000 tickets.
Damn.
And I paid everything out of the ticket sales.
Yeah.
And I walked out of there. I had $400 in my bank account.
Fuck.
And I looked at my wife and I said, this has to fucking work. Put it on Netflix, sold it to Netflix. Still made no money because Levity's getting first money in, first money out. Nothing happens on Netflix. I told my wife, I got to run a commercial.
Is it still on Netflix?
Not anymore.
Okay.
So I go, I got to run a commercial because I know it's good. I put it out there. Boom, we go fucking viral. That video clip right now has 240 million views.
Wow.
240.
What clip is that?
Changed my life.
What clip is that?
It was a clip about my wife coming back from shopping. I go, my wife loves to shop, and then she comes home and she makes me play The Price is Right. And she holds up an item and goes, how much did I pay? Actual retail price. And I'm like, bitch, just tell me. And then she turns into an auctioneer, right? Oh my God, I went over to Macy's, had 10%, got another 20%. It was like 30%. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get 50% off. Then I got it. I was like, I don't know if I want it. I'm going to get it. Oh my God, I got all of this right here for $200 to this sassy bitch right here, right? That was the bit.
Right.
Fucking viral. And George, I went from a $1,500 act. I call up the Improv. I go, I don't know what's happening, but I'm going viral. Can I have
You don't know what's happening, motherfucker. You know what's happening.
But it was crazy.
Yeah,
but I didn't know if it was going to translate.
1950s. I don't know what's going on.
No, but I didn't know if it was going to translate. So I called the Brea Improv. They would always give me a Wednesday night for $250.
They would charge you?
Well, they would pay me $250.
Oh.
So I call them up and I go,
that's
robbery. I go, forget about the $250. I want a door deal. And Josh at the time, who was GM, he opens it up and he goes, Steve, you sold 40 tickets last time you were here. We papered the rest of the room. And I said, I'm willing to take the risk. Sold out 2 shows in 45 minutes. My life has never been the same.
God bless you. Good.
Never been the same.
And everywhere you go, that's the same thing?
I have not sold out in 4 or 5 years now.
What?
Now we're doing, we're adding shows in 2,500 seaters. We're averaging about 5,000 to 6,000 tickets a market now. We're doing Oxnard this weekend. Friday and Saturday are already sold out. We're not going to add any more shows because I'm at the point where I just can't. It's exhausting. I miss my wife. I miss my kids. I'm not doing.
What's the matter?
He's never done Stevens either. He yet to done Stevens.
I did Stevens Steakhouse. It's a rite of passage. You have to go through there. Somebody's raising money. Somebody's making money. The comics are not.
Well, he didn't go viral there, though.
I didn't go viral at fucking Stevens Steakhouse.
He went to the doctor.
You can hear the wedding next door.
Fucking padre, press. Hey, so
Hey, I gotta go. My dad stabbed your dad. And you hear that shit over there.
when was that first special? What year was that first special?
First special with Montoya was in 08 or 09.
All right.
And then we followed it up with Relatable, which was 13 or 14. That one went crazy.
You guys did that was Scott Montoya too?
No. Remember, that was me.
Yeah.
It was just me and my wife.
Okay, good.
So then after that, I thought to myself, they're going to call. I went crazy viral. At that point, I went from 10,000 Facebook fans to 1 million. The video was going fucking insane all over the world. I said, Hollywood's going to call. Somebody's going to give me a special. That call never came. And again, I told my wife, we'll film another one. So then we filmed Till Death on our own in a barn in Texas. Wow. A real fucking barn. Shot it, came out beautiful, went fucking viral again. And then during the quarantine, I go, this is a moment in time that I have to film my experience. Filmed it again on our own, paid for it on our own. We own 100%. That one's on Amazon Prime. Till Death is on Amazon Prime. Again, nobody called. Now we're selling out every comedy club in the country. We're starting to do theaters. Nobody called. Me and my wife, boom. We doubled down again. We just filmed I Speak Wife. Went straight to YouTube because the game has changed.
Yes, you opened your own channel on YouTube?
My own channel on YouTube. And as you know, through my podcast and my socials, I'm paying all my bills. So my theory now is, why am I going to give my talent to a streamer and give them my clicks?
Right.
When I can just take those clicks
That's true.
for myself.
Yeah, especially if
So-
you do that. If you have the numbers, you can run that.
Yeah, I mean, 5 months ago we put it up and we're at 1.4 million views
Wow.
on that special.
And do you have management? Like you have a manager or agents? That
I'm
people
with
can-
CAA.
Yeah.
And then my management is the same managers. They're music managers. They handle Pitbull, the rapper.
Yeah.
They handle like Enrique and Ricky Martin. You know, those guys. I was having a hard time finding a manager that understood what I was. And what I mean by that is, early on in my career, everything was, hey, go on this audition.
Right.
Thick accent. Valet Parker.
Right.
And I'm like, man, that's not me. I grew up country as fuck. My vehicles don't go down. They go up.
But you are country, right?
I'm very country.
Total.
You know, I'm very, very country.
Yeah.
I mean,
like I'm from out here.
horses.
We're like
boots.
fucking
Cowboy
cholos
boots.
and shit.
Yeah.
Right?
I used to laugh. I came to LA. They're like, Mexicans don't wear cowboy boots. I'm like, motherfucker, you never been to Mexico. That's all we're rancheros. We're the original vaqueros.
I went to Mexico.
That's
one
right.
time.
They're charros.
I went to Mexico.
Charros, that's right.
You know why I went to Mexico to film this movie, and you forget that you're from America and that our voices are louder than everybody in Mexico. So they're like, "Dame unos tres con de carne asada con todo." And I said, "Hey, I'll take 5 and then a Diet Coke." The fucking motherfucker.
They're like, look at this
They all turn
self-entitlement. This
around, man.
self-entitlement fucking American over there.
And then the guy put his hand in the fucking oil with no glove or anything. Just taking the fucking carne out of there.
But that's why I get frustrated, George, because the urban Latino, if you will,
That's me.
that's fucking awesome, dude.
Was that you on a credit card?
That's me on the credit card.
God dang, I need one of those credit cards. Does the money go from you too if I get that? Huevos. With lots of eggs.
With
Con muchos huevos.
I'll never use that credit card again.
I'm trying to rub down the numbers.
Hey, you're gonna see him later.
It's warm. So yeah. So
Oh, he really did.
some me out those days. So I get it. It is frustrating to do good work, and yet
Well, the industry only sees the urban Chicano. You have to realize something. The only Latinos that have ever been on HBO are all from the same place.
who are
And
they?
It's you, Mencia, Paul, and Felipe.
Fluffy.
No,
Fluffy?
Felipe. Those are the only 4 that have ever been on HBO as a
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
They're all from the LA area. They're all from immigrant parents. They all talk about the inner city experience. So when you got a guy like me who is very different, that perspective needs to be seen as well. And when you're a black comic, you get everything it is to be black. From Cat Williams to Chris Rock and everything in between. And the only representation that we have is the urban Latino, which is necessary. And we need it, but we need a Steve Treviño too. You know, there's this kid blowing up right now, this Ralph Barbosa. Kid's blowing up. And I'm like, I'm praying for him.
Who is that?
Because I'm like, this kid needs a pass. I want this kid
Never
to
heard
get
of
the
him.
pass. Kid's blowing up, George. Huge. And I'm very proud of him. But Gil, I don't hate on him. I want that kid to have it easy.
I'm going to tell you this.
Because we fucking had it hard. You harder than me.
You said that kid is blowing up. I don't know who he is, but where's he from?
He's from Dallas, Texas. Young kid, very, very young. Just did the Tonight Show. Did one of those Latino HBO specials. The kid's selling out everywhere he goes now. And I think to myself,
Well, where's he going though? You can't say everywhere he goes. He
fuck, kid's going to fucking Wisconsin.
Well, to comedy clubs though.
Yeah, comedy club in Milwaukee. He's doing great.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for him because I want one young Latino to get the pass.
Well, there isn't a pass. I don't think there's not a pass. I think you have to make. Well, I can't say they come to you per se because I don't think they do, man. Like, I don't know how it is, man. Like, see, how did it happen with me?
I remember
I don't know your business, but I don't think anybody owes anybody anything.
1,000%.
You make your bones. You know, you do what
Yeah.
you got to do, and you
Unfortunately,
you
not in
make
this
it or you
business.
don't.
What do you mean?
A lot of times guys that are not
I love this too.
that are not as funny that don't work as hard, they get a lot of breaks. Right? So when you sit there and you go on stage and you're the one murdering on stage, and then all of a sudden this kid walks on stage and he's just okay, and for whatever reason the industry is like, hey, here's a deal, here's a TV show, here's this.
But that's not only in not only in comedy. That's in
Any
everyday.
business.
That's in
Is
everyday
that what
life.
that guy Barbosa has?
No, I think he's really good, and I think he's a talented young man. You know, and I was a talented young man. You were a talented young man. If you weren't a talented young man, you wouldn't be here,
That's true.
right? So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you broke until 40s
I was, let's see, I was 41
when you got the show,
when my show premiered. I was 40 when I got it.
and you got Bell's palsy. I fucking got Bell's palsy.
When did I have Bell's palsy?
Didn't you tell me that?
No, I didn't have Bell's
I
palsy.
thought you said you had Bell's palsy from the stress of the show.
No.
No, gave pause to his balls. That's what it was.
The huevos,
Yeah.
No, what's gay? I had,
where half your face like
I don't think so. I had
No?
shingles, but
shingles.
shingles, yeah. I don't think I had Bell's palsy.
But again,
I had shingles a
to-
lot.
It's stressful, but it's stressful.
But do you think that you were good enough at 27, 28?
no,
No?
I
at
agree
all.
with you.
I was not, in my 30s, I wasn't ready.
on the internet. I've seen when you were young, like almost at 18, 19.
Oh, he's wearing the
Stuff.
Z Cavaricis?
Stuff, young stuff.
Those are nice pants.
And you weren't
They were nice.
as funny then as accomplished as you became.
Well, Mitzi,
How
Mitzi Short,
would I be?
Yeah, Mitzi Short says
you were Yeah, I'm not condemning you or blaming you.
Hey,
I'm
buddy,
just saying
pues, what the
there's a
fuck?
major league difference from where you started to where you.
Well, Mitzi Short says that in order to call yourself a professional comedian, that you need to be doing it 20 years. That's her benchmark.
So what? I know.
Is it in order to call yourself an officer? How long do you have to be on the force?
It's shit. They called me a young punk when I was working this case. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, you make your own bones. Eventually,
Oh,
somebody
1000%.
recognizes what you do, and
Oh,
then
look,
you're recognized. And
But
until
Gil,
then,
obviously, I've never made an excuse. I just keep working and finding my way. And now I have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful home in Texas. I have a beautiful wife. I have beautiful kids. And the best part about it is I make my own decisions. You know, I do my podcast. Nobody tells me what to say or do. I film my specials. I do them when I want to film them and how I want to film them and where I want to film them. So in a sense, it's been a blessing. I'm very happy. I couldn't be happier.
All right. Okay. So you wouldn't like, let's say okay, I don't know if I say so. I don't know, man. I mean, you wouldn't want to have a television show?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
I mean, I get it, man. I mean, I have to say, like, I knew you back then, and when I saw your wife and your kids in your house, I commend you on that because I know how hard it is to be on the road and be married, and your wife is incredibly beautiful and incredibly smart, and you guys work well together, and that's a great dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is great. That it works for you, right? I think that's the show.
Oh, 1,000%. I think I would love to do.
Like maybe you know what? Maybe back then wasn't the right time.
Right.
You know,
I don't disagree.
because
And by the way, my wife is a trained actor who went to NYU and studied at Tisch. So my wife is a trained professional actor, and I agree with you. I think.
And what did she want? How did you? What did she want to do?
She wanted to act.
And
So
then-
she does commercials.
So let's talk
and
about
she's-
her. So she went to Tisch, and then she wanted to act, and she was in New York acting, or
She was at NYU, and then we grew up in the same little town, Gregory, Portland.
fucking amazing.
Her dad comes up to me and he says, "Hey, take care of my daughter. She's going to be in LA for 4 months." And I'm like, I knew I was going to fuck her. I didn't know you were going to hook me up. Hey, thank you, sir. But I always say it came out more like Allstate. I said, she's in good hands. She's in good hands, right? So immediately we hit it off. Immediately we started dating. She had to go back to NYU. She comes back to LA to start her career, and she is also a Latina. And everything for her, every audition was Spanish accent, sexy Latina, wear a short skirt, all of those things. She couldn't book a role, and that's when me and her teamed up. And I was like, there's no Latina producers, I'll make one. There's no Latina directors, then you're my director for my specials. You're my producer. And now I think that me and her could do the new I Love Lucy, where we're an actual married couple.
What's the name of your special with the wife? It's like
I Speak Wife.
How did you? Yeah, they said you're America's husband or something.
America's
like
favorite husband.
that? Yeah, that's the name of your show.
Yeah, I love it. I agree 1,000%.
And I think it starts in college. I think it starts like Love Story with Ryan O'Neal, and then you guys come out here and you see that. And I think it's Texas, and it's the kids, and it's your life and your kids.
1,000%, George.
Because there's enough of a separation between you and your wife, and your kids are like young kids, and their wants are different than what your wants were.
And then you know, and I'm sure that you went through it too, where I'm doing this whole bit right now where we're very confused on how to raise this kid because we are so fucking privileged. My life is fucking out of this world. And how do I keep this kid grounded when, I mean, he goes in my barn and it's a fucking Mexican Chuck E. Cheese back there. I mean, pool tables and air hockey and pickleball.
So you have all that
court
stuff in your house in Texas?
In
you
my
have
barn.
Their barn.
And then my kid goes, I'm bored. Fuck you, you're bored.
Right.
We had rocks to throw at each other. Fuck off, right? So that's part of.
You know what I say in my joke? I'm bored. Jack off. That's what I was.
Rub one out.
And then the kid says, "You want to help me find my helmet? Get the fuck out of here!"
But George, I think you're dead on, man. And
it is. I looked you up, and I was today, and after work, I was like, "Well, that's this dude's show." Like sometimes it just lays out, and sometimes it doesn't. In forget about me, but in whatever. Sometimes dudes make it early. I mean, listen, if Latinos are gonna make it at all, you can't put an age on us because you can't say if I don't make it by the time I'm 30,
you're fucked.
I'm coming back. Well, the fucking Latino. Well, then don't go, motherfucker.
Yeah, valió verga.
You ain't gonna make it in your fucking 30. Even in my fucking in the 90s, my darkest time was from 98 to 99 when Arsenio went off, and I was fucking drinking, and I just got married. It was fucking terrible. And I never thought that I would be on TV, much less fucking be on TV again 20 years later. So
and
there's a time for everybody has a time. Like everybody, you know, we get caught up in like, oh, you know, it's fucking football season, it's a fucking new leap year, fucking New Year's, it's spring. In show business, man, it's whatever.
It's happening.
Whenever. And
it's all happening.
And there is no time to make it.
Right, it's just all happening.
Sometimes, what if you leave too early? Motherfuckers go back to where they came from, and
you asked Russell Peters,
you have to live in fucking.
Russell Peters was selling fucking socks door to door in his late 30s, and then he gets pissed because they leak his special to YouTube.
I'm just glad,
changed his fucking life.
I'm just glad my wife, you know, she's from PVU, that's Pico Viejo University. And she doesn't ask for much. We made it. We don't need anything. We're happy. And all this stuff, even being with you guys today, and I say not only Jordan, but with you. I mean, you people are celebrities. You're selling places out. Hey, I'm not asking for nothing. This just happens. And since I don't have to look for anything, since I'm not asking for anything, it's just a
But I've noticed that
time.
too, right? I mean, you know, I did have a chip on my shoulder, and I did have this bad attitude. And I noticed that when that chip went away and the bad attitude went away, then things really started to come to me. You know, and as soon as I had the attitude of, man, I couldn't be happier for George. I couldn't be happier for Al Madrigal. I couldn't be happier for Momo. I couldn't be. And once that happened to me, and I truly am happy, then things started changing.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I did the same thing in 1999 because I was worried about everybody but me. I was worried about Drew Carey getting a show, Raymond. You worry about why is this guy doing that and why is that guy doing that, and it's too much, man. And it's like
Eats you up.
You're just like, what the fuck is this shit? So in '89 or '99, I was always a big New Year's resolution person. Like, hey, say, hey, what's your New Year's resolution? I would make one bullshit one. I would make one I would try to keep, and the one was that I wasn't gonna worry about what anybody thought of me, or I wasn't going to worry about what anybody else thought.
What they were doing.
Disappointed. I thought you were going to make something
That's
good.
not jacking up. One of these stop jacking up. And you're like, that was just for the fans.
No, that's never a New Year's resolution.
And then the one was, and you know what? When I did that, because, you know, my wife would buy the fucking Enquirer and People magazine, and you're reading about people, and you're just like, oh, this is fucking nasty. And when I decided to not worry about what people were doing or not buy the Enquirer, not read about people, it was fucking like a drug, but it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
very hard.
And after that, like you, things changed because The universe sees that you're not just some fucking dude that's fucking
Envidioso,
backbiting
greedy,
everybody.
hating,
you know?
So, this Ralph kid, he did really well. Man, I immediately sent him a message on Instagram. I said, hey, dude, congratulations. I'm here for you. I wish you all the success in the world. And he sent back, he was like, oh, my God. Thank you, Steve Treviño. I can't believe
What do you mean here for you? Like, what are you going to do?
Whatever he needs. Advice, help, whatever. I got his back.
And did he ever ask you for advice?
I just hit him up. So he hasn't asked me for advice.
Fucking
But
kids don't give a fuck about us.
they don't care anymore. Yeah, they don't fucking give a shit. Yeah.
What are you going to tell them? Where to get ribs in fucking Portland, Texas? Motherfucker don't give a fuck. Listen, these kids don't give a fuck. Nobody's ever asked me what the fuck I thought. And I've been out there.
I'm asking you right now.
I've been out there for fucking I've been out there forever. But also, nobody knows that. Like when you're in this bureau, I'm a singular person. I didn't have parents. I didn't have anything. I didn't have my grandparents raised me. I was an only child. I was always by myself. So I was doing what I was doing. When I was doing the shows, I was doing what I was doing. And it's fucking hard. Every day is fucking hard. Every day is not like we got the whatever, but in the beginning, but it's fucking hard. Ratings and this is a fucking this.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the show thing. It's fucking hard.
That's hard, man.
It's hard. And
Well,
but does it outweigh it? Yeah, in a sense it does. But then also when that show got canceled, it was me, not everybody else. It was me that got canceled.
Carried it, yep.
Because of my name. So they're all like, hey, what happened to your show, puta? You got fucking canceled. It's like I went into syndication. Nobody's ever done that. Nah. You don't give a fuck.
Well, by the way,
don't give a fuck.
didn't Nick at Night, to me, is what really blew you up.
It's true.
Fuck, this guy was on my fucking TV every night.
Mm-hmm. And now it's on TBS. It hasn't been off the air in 20 years.
That's awesome.
I see him in here. I go to hotels out of the state. I see him in syndication. I see him on the airplanes flying over there and on the way back. He's still out
And
there.
when you fall asleep in here, I put my Vatican in your face. You woke up. You saw
all sad, todo
you
triste,
saw the microphone.
todo triste, all sad, right?
right?
Con popsicle
Hey,
sticks.
so what are your kids? But you know what? This is the thing. I think comedy. I'm trying to tell them a couple of things. I think comedy became before this one event. Nobody apologized. Richard Pryor never apologized. Eddie Murphy never apologized. Lenny Bruce never apologized. George Carlin never apologized. Nobody apologized for comedy. And it was the line was, if they can't take it,
Take a hike.
fuck them if they can't take a joke. That was
Chinga
it.
su madre, yep.
Fuck you if you can't take a joke. And then Dice Clay goes on Arsenio, this is what I believe, and apologized for his comedy. And ever since Dice Clay apologized, it became a fucking
Thing.
a thing about apologies. Nobody, and he shouldn't apologize.
He was a killer, too.
And how dare you say this, and how dare you say that.
And then we had to take
Motherfucker.
responsibility for that shit. But Chris Rock never fucking apologized.
Well, I was just talking to my wife. On our podcast, we just recently had a comment, and they go, well, just killed my brain cells. And I thought to myself, who has fucking energy for that? Who, turn the channel, motherfucker.
Oh, they just said that
Just
to you?
move on. Just move on.
And I mean, what is that shit like?
Who thinks that they're so grandiose, I'm going to let them know that they fucking suck? Like, what kind of energy is that?
Who does that?
I don't know. I'm not smart enough to
My
know
grandmother
that
died
shit.
in 2009. I thought nobody did that after she died. But it's true. So you have to live with people taking shots at you that don't know you. It could be 5:30 in the morning. And they're saying, you fucking suck. Your wife sucks. Fuck you
Yep.
guys. And it's like, I mean, it really doesn't mean anything.
Well, I've learned not to give a fuck anymore.
That's right.
I used to read the comments
Doesn't matter.
and heartbroken. They don't like my comedy, and oh my God, but I'm funny. And I'm like, well, fuck them. I'm selling out. There's some people that think I'm fucking good.
Do you remember the worst thing that somebody said to you? I'm going to tell you what the worst thing that somebody said to
on
me
Netflix.
on Twitter.
When I looked at
You
the
ready?
comments, somebody had said, fuck this racist white redneck. And I was like, ooh, well, first of all, I'm not a redneck. Second of all, I'm not white. And I'm a little racist, but against people like you. But
I think I got you beat. Somebody sent me on Twitter, they said, this motherfucker sucks so bad. I wish I could go back in a time machine to when his mom was pregnant and get a coat hanger and shove it up her and abort this motherfucker before you were ever born.
Gotcha.
And you know what? It's fucking pretty good, man.
And you were like, you know what? That would have helped
I was
me.
like, God damn.
I wouldn't have had to live this life.
I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not, I'm bad, but I'm not that bad.
Like,
and I was like, wow.
bad.
You see a bunch of crazy shit, especially around the political time. Which,
Well, I mean,
but it's not, I mean, it's nothing It's nothing.
Yeah, once I've learned to like, you know, and the more TikTok has done crazy shit for me. I mean, we got a video that hit 13.8 million views recently in like a month.
Which one was that one?
God, what bit was it? Oh, it was about for my Speak Wife, where I say, you know, if you're sitting on the couch comfortably and happy, prepare yourself. My wife doesn't like that shit.
Yep.
She'll walk in and she'll go, I go, speaking wife always comes in the form of a question. Are you thinking about going to the store?
I think speaking wife could be a topic, a name for the show too.
I think so too.
Because everybody has to, you have to read between the lines.
Oh, yeah.
Or you have to read their minds, but also they don't hold you as an equal. So you're in a relationship where you're not an equal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
And you're, you know, your wife's little. How was she, like 4'11"? 4'4"?
She's 5'3". I'm 6'3". She's 5'3".
And that little,
She's 5'2".
and that
5'2".
little,
And la
like a
baby
little
Bjorn, okay.
air conditioning unit, right? It's like a little square, like a little house, like when you get pull a parking ticket, like a little square where you walk up. Like that little thing where you push shopping carts. She's almost like the thing where you put the shopping carts.
That's it. You just put it in
A
there.
4x4.
And she can tell you to go to fucking by Celia to go get her a fucking ice cream, and you'd go and try to come back without it
How
melting.
much time do I have?
Do you see?
That's exactly what.
So
it
I
is.
think speaking every
Speak
husband. Aaron, are you married? Yeah. And what does that dude make you do? Run around to different stores? Not doing it.
I just.
Is that what's his name?
She's right now. One of my kids, the older one. She went to the
He
doctor
said
2 days
fucking the
ago.
older one.
I'll say that's when you're
The
old.
old
I'll say, hey,
name,
the
older one.
The older one.
She went to the
The one with
doctor.
que tiene
La
la.
boda que got in a fight in the market.
no tiene
She went to the
diente.
doctor on Tuesday. She wasn't feeling good. They did the COVID, everything. They sent her home there. Take Tylenol, you. And then they called her up yesterday. They said, okay, you got COVID. You know, you got the ugly shit. Because she's got now fever, 103 fever. She got this, she got that. So isolate her in her room. Just put her in there. They sent her some, you know, we picked up medication.
You sure it's not from her dog eating the cat food?
I hope so. I hope it's not. I just,
Yeah, the
I'd
dog
take
ate
it
it.
if it was from the perro. I sort of want it from somebody else.
Hey, does your daughter still live with you?
Yeah. Well, she's back. She moved back during COVID because of the shutdowns and where she was at. She's back. Now they're getting ready to go back to her. So she's getting ready to move back over here someplace in Burbank.
Better Bank.
So he told a story about his daughter.
worked-
Never mentioned her name. Never mentioned any doctor that she went to. Just he was around facts, and then he goes, "Oh, she lives over here in Burbank."
Well, no, she's
Address-
all of it was vague.
Address 1418.
She's at home. I started, so she's at home. She's
Right by the
sick.
Poquito Más.
My wife now has to stop everything. She's in an isolated room. My wife, you know, makes lunch, does everything for her, knock on the door. Here's your food out here. She's still taking care of the rest of the house. She's still trying to make me happy. So last night, I took her a bouquet of roses.
Attaboy.
Nothing. Just say, hey, thank you. She said, what are these for? I said, just because you're a good mom.
You're amazing.
You're a good nana.
I mean, I save lives, but hey, you're amazing.
There she is.
I find
You know,
murderers,
I
but mira,
Well,
you're no
you're
slouch.
beautiful.
You're no slouch.
I wasn't asking for anything. There ain't gonna be nothing coming out of it. I just want to say
Thank you.
thank you. That's the way. It's because I'm on my morning, like you said.
And what did she say?
Oh, she got a little teary-eyed. She said, thank you.
I do a joke that hits so hard right now where I go, my dad won't tell me he loves me.
Oh.
So I go to my dad and I go, Dad, tell me you love me. And then my dad says, well, why? So you can take advantage of me? and then he goes, you tell your wife you love her. And I go, every day, Dad, and look how she treats you. Dude, that's
what
a joke.
gotta,
That joke.
I got to tell my wife that one.
Yeah.
Because, see, George knows. My
I'll
dad
throw
never
fucking
told
Mencia over here.
my dad never told me.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
it.
fucking tell that one.
George,
He'll be telling it at the next fucking crime con over
how
there.
did you say it?
My dad never told me he loved me. The night before he died, he's passing away. I cleared the room. I said, and I had never said I love you to my dad. And it was just a cultural thing. I know. So I walked up and I said, Dad, I got to tell you something. I grabbed his hand and said, what is it? I said, Dad, I love you. And he looked me right in the eye and he put his hand on top of mine and he says, me too.
Yeah, he never really said.
I never said I love you.
Yeah.
So,
Is that cultural? Or is that?
no, that was called. There ain't no doubt.
I know. I think that's macho shit.
I just think
but,
it was.
But you know,
time.
George, when I first started doing stand up, everything was about
Did you feel alone when you first started?
1,000%.
You have brothers and sisters?
I have 2 sisters. Felt alone. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Right.
Didn't know where to go. My dad looked at me and goes, "Hey man, if you're gonna go down this path, don't ask me for a fucking thing.
How
You're
about
on your
that?
own.
There you go.
Figure it out."
How about that?
But I remember.
How about that? Don't ask me for a fucking thing.
No, my dad. When I came out of the Army, I wanted to go. I really wanted to play football. You know, I was big. I wanted to play football. I wanted to play at Rio Hondo. And my dad kept saying, "Well, you're not going to be a professional football player. Go to work, son. Go to work." I said, "Dad, I want to go to college. I want to play ball." And finally he said, "Okay, look."
How old were you?
I was only 20 years old.
You went to Vietnam and came back. You were 20.
Yeah. I was 20 years old.
You go for 2 years from 18, right?
I went in at 17. I came out at 20. And so I come back and he says, "Okay, here's what last time I'll tell you." He says, "My friends tell me they're hiring at Ford Motor Company." He says, "Apply there. If they don't take you, go play football. God bless you."
You got the fucking job.
I got the fucking job. And I had talked to the coach out there, and I told him, "Hey, I'm different now. You know, I'm mature. He says, "Come on."
My dad wrecked me, man. I told him, I go, "Haven't you ever had a dream?" And he goes, "Yeah, to be a good dad, to raise my family, and have a good paying job. I'm living my dream." And I was like, "Well, fuck you then, dude." Like,
Is that what he said?
oh yeah.
I never had that. My dad.
I never had a dream like that.
No, my dad raised. There were probably he had about 10, 11 brothers and sisters, and he was the father to all of them. His first father passed away. His second father got run out of Dodge because he tried to play around with one of his sisters. They run him out of the town. So my dad raised them. Then there were 7 of us, and
Goddamn.
nobody ever got.
You don't get any more Mexican than that shit.
I mean, fuck. What the
None
fuck?
of my sisters. Nobody ever got in major trouble, and I'm the only one at that time. I was the only one that went to college. Because I wanted. I thought only rich white people went to college. I wanted to go.
But again, we have to see it.
Yeah.
It helps to see it. That's why your story is so important. That's why your story on TV right now is so important. That little boy that you have from Texas, my kid likes him. And my son's 7. And my kid goes, "Oh, I forget the Iki Boys or I forget what
Inky
they're
Boys.
called."
Yeah.
And I understand that his father just passed, God rest his soul.
God bless him.
But my son is like, "Dad, I know that kid, and I want to be a TikToker like him." But we need to see ourselves in positive lights.
I got to share a story with you. We went when they were
You're all
making.
fucking almost already.
They were making a movie on the Night Stalker, 1989, just before I. Just
With
before
A. Martinez and who else? Larry
exactly,
Wilcox?
A. Martinez.
And who played Frank?
Julie.
Julie Andrews.
No, I was going to say Julie Andrews.
How are you
Her name
not
was
playing
Julia,
him in a movie,
But I
George?
can't remember her last name right now. But so we went down there. We're watching them filming. It's about my family. They're doing the filming, and my son, who's about 10 years old, then he says, "Dad, I want to be an actor." I said, "You want to be an actor?"
Why not? Why not?
Dale.
And we went down to watch him film. We're driving home. I said, "You want me to send you to, you really want to be an actor? You want to get an agent? You want to be an actor?" He says, "Yes, I really do." I said, "Okay, pretend right now. Let's see how you can act. Be a crying kid because your dad's making fun of you because he thinks you're stupid." I'm going to do this.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I said, I finally made a deal with him. I said, "I tell you what, I'll get you, we'll do what we got to do. And as long as you keep a B average in school, I'll pay for it."
Hey, not even high standards. Hey, get a C, cabrón.
No,
Just
I-
pass. Just
But
pass.
if you're trying to be an
said-
actor, you're not going to be fucking have no fucking B's. What
No,
the fuck? You're
I
out there
said-
with fucking
I said,
cocaine and your fucking
You
thing,
got to maintain a B.
with a flat
And so
tire, driving around with a flat tire.
He ended up doing a couple of commercials. That's as far as he got with the agency, whatever they did. Paid for.
Commercials for what?
I don't know. He did a hand commercial and something else,
what?
and that's the one that's gay. See, go ahead.
Salió.
Yeah.
But you have a son that's gay, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
you love him like if he was
I
a real
love
person.
it. It
No,
doesn't
okay.
make a difference.
Don't put
what
that
he
in, Aaron.
He's that's my I call him Sonny Boy. That's my man.
But when you told him he wanted to be an actor,
I made fun of his ass.
did he start crying?
No, Dad. I said, no, go ahead. Hurry up. Cry. Get mad. Get mad at Dad. I want to see your act.
How old was he when you were like, "Oh, there's something different"?
Oh, I knew there was something different early on. 10, 11 years old. By then, I could tell.
Yeah.
He was when I came home, I had been 2 weeks in
wanna hear
Panama
my joke?
teaching.
They go. I goes. How did you know? He goes because when you were little, you used to suck our thumbs. That's how he was.
That's one of my jokes on my.
Truly, my wife got pissed off at me one time. He was only about 5-6 years old, and there was some show, one of these talk shows on TV, when your son comes out of the closet, and she says at that time. My son was 5 years
out of the
old.
cupboard.
I had no idea, nothing. And she just says, what would you do if your son right now came out of the closet and said he was gay? I said, ask him for a blowjob.
Who said you said that?
Yeah, I said that. And she got pissed off at me.
Hilarious.
She got pissed off. I said, hey, you're going to ask me a stupid fucking question. Why get past my answer? And then, as it turns out, years later, he ended up coming out of the closet.
But did you get the blowjob?
No, I didn't.
That's the question.
I reach around nothing.
Nada.
Ni los huevos.
Around the world, nothing.
I just told him, hey.
But it's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
But you were cool with it, right?
Yeah.
Or did you have a problem with it?
No, not at all. When I came home,
but there had to be a like.
Well,
okay,
I come home. I come home from Panama. They meet me at the airport. Where there were 2 separate cars, my kids and my wife. I get in the car, and my wife. I start.
How come they had 2 cars? One for you guys, and then one for him, and all this.
Well, because there were
his was
feathers.
standard. His was standard.
I don't know what they were doing.
Standard.
and so I said, okay, so we leave. She says, my wife starts crying. She says, stop. I got to get this off my chest. And she's crying, and I'm saying, oh goddamn, what did I do now?
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah.
What are you going to bring up now? And she says, your son just came out of the closet. He's gay. Now he's got to be, 17, 18 years old. And he got to be older than that. He got to be about 20. And I said, that's it? And she says, yes. I said, okay. I said, my son's not in trouble with the law. He's not using drugs. He's got the kindest heart of anybody I know.
I can live with that. Right.
I said, if that's it, that's all? I said, that's my son. I love him. And it's not going to change
Anything.
Here we go.
anything.
Here we go. Every fucking time we have a podcast, you fucking llorón, cabrón. You know the fucking llorona? You gotta.
Hey, Steve, how did the podcast go? I made a
fucking.
I made Gil cry. I don't know what happened.
Fucking Gil started crying. La verga. And
So it
choked
didn't,
up. And
didn't change anything. And I talked to him the next day, and as long as you don't
Did you
start
tell him
wor-
you loved him?
Yes. Well, that morning, the next morning.
He was making eggs?
It was his birthday.
Aye. With sausage.
Comiendo popsicles.
Is there any more? There's one left.
Bite it, mijo.
But
Bite it.
it's not in the freezer.
The next day, it
Where's
was
the
his
banana?
birthday.
Want to play Pop Goes the Weasel, Dad? That's not even a game. I just been.
Sorry, son. I know you're going to hear this shit.
Not necessarily.
The next day, it was his birthday. And I had already bought him a card in the airport. My wife tells me
You had to go get another one because.
No. I just wrote a long message in the card. Next morning, wake up. My wife says, hey, go out there with your son. Because he knew she was going to tell me.
That's big time, man.
And she says,
You got to admire his courage, man. That's hard to do.
He's
at
in the
that
living
age.
room. Go over there. He's waiting for you. I said, no, there's nothing different. He knows where I'm at. You can give him this card, but have him come in here if he wants to talk to me.
You didn't go to him?
No. And so,
You would have. You wouldn't
Hey, a
have.
little
No, I
bit of
wouldn't have.
little machismo still, right?
Yeah, still he won't
so
go to him.
there's nothing different.
Why did you make him come to you?
Because there
Because
was
he had
nothing,
something to tell you, and
there was nothing different going. I still loved him. He knew the way I was. Hey, you want to talk? Come on in here and talk to me, son. And so she gave the card. He read it. He came in there. We cried.
Tear gas.
We hugged. And I just told him, just don't fucking
Don't grab
come
my
in
ass.
here wearing pumps in the house right now, and don't go on Jerry Springer.
but was that serious? What if he did with the fucking
Well,
tacones?
we just
You
laughed.
really-
And I said,
fucking tacones on? Put 'em out, though.
and do I have to stop telling gay jokes? And he said, absolutely not. So we have a great relationship today.
That's great.
I wrote a letter to my family and to close friends saying, hey, my son came out of the closet. I love him. Anybody have a problem?
Wait a minute, but did you
talk to
feel
me.
you had to write a letter to explain
Yes.
him?
Not to explain him, just to let everybody know he's out.
No, but he's
I
saying the
love
letter
him.
to your son.
No.
He wrote to the friend. I think.
Oh, you also wrote to the
I
friends
can't
and
say.
family.
I wrote to friends and family and say, hey, my son just came out of the closet. He's gay. My son, I love him.
I'm okay with it. Fuck off. If
Hey,
you don't like it.
Did you put?
Anybody
What
has
did
a-
you put in there? Like a picture? You said, "Here's this photo of my son's photo."
Here's this photo.
Love
My
you.
son's photo. Y me la metan. I mean, wait a minute.
You know what? I gotta tell you right now. Every day
My
I
son
leave
loves
my house.
canela, and he also me la pela. Are you writing poems?
Hey, every day I leave my
I was
house.
going to be in Hallmark at the CVS. Hey, do you have the gay section? Do you have
When he
the
was
Mela
little, he
Pela?
was Lalo, and now he likes Palo.
I'm looking for the Lalo Palo one. Do y'all have that?
Hey.
Sold out. It's sold out.
Every day I leave my house, my wife.
I can't afford
Love
gas,
George.
but my son lo gusta por atrás.
He likes ass.
Every time I leave my house, my wife loves George. She says, "Be sure and tell George I say hello." If she hears this shit tonight, she's gonna
like,
say
"Fuck George."
FTP.
No, but I want to say this. But I want to say this. And not even necessarily Latinos, but there's a lot of fathers that have hurt their children because they've come out and they come out that they're homosexual. Hurt them.
Right.
Kill some. Beat them up. Try to beat it out of them.
I try to beat it out
No,
of me.
so do you know that Lenny Bruce?
But you're
Yeah.
look at your father was the way he was, never told you he loved you, and then your son has that, and you accepted him, which is big. I'm gonna say it's
class
big.
move.
I want to
Class
joke around,
move.
but it's big because
It's a class move.
Because you know what, friends leave you, family leaves you, and you didn't do that, and it's
The macho tios.
I want to say it's big.
That's huge, man.
A lot of kids have been hurt for what they are sexually, and that's wrong.
I agree
And even by their own
1000%.
family and their friends.
So Lenny Bruce, to get out of the service, said that he was gay, right? To get out of the service, they got him off the ship because they didn't want anybody else to catch it. That's how fucking dumb
Yeah.
people think you catch joto. Like, you don't. You were born the fucking
I've
way
tried
you
to
are.
catch it a couple of times when things weren't
Hey,
going good.
I always say that'd be nice. 2 male incomes. No, hombre, cabrón.
Two incomes.
2
I
male.
remember. Okay, you're always.
So is he
chingado
dating?
'cause
Is he dating?
No.
Does he bring?
No, he's now 44 years old, and 45 years old. Doesn't bring anybody. He is what he is.
But he does date though. He has.
I have no idea.
We had a pair of tias, or a tia that would come home with her best friend when I was a kid. That's her best friend. And we're like, is she related to us? They're friends. And then you get older and you're like, oh, scissors. I get it. I get it. Yeah.
So
And was she happy?
Very happy. I had a cousin come out of the closet when I was living here in LA, and it was one of those moments you're like, yeah, no shit, dude. Because he was
Everybody
that gay.
knew him.
But I told my dad, I go, hey, so-and-so came out of the closet, and my dad, I guess there's levels of gay to Latinos, right? Because he goes, well, does he pitch or catch? And I go, I think he pitches. Ah, boy. I'm like, I guess there's levels. There's different levels.
I know. I say the pitcher or the catcher. That's
I don't
still
know.
say
He's-
No, but that's a class move, man. And that shows a lot of intelligence on your part, socially,
We're
mentally.
good. We're close.
Yeah.
I love him. He's good. It's all right.
How is it working with your daughter?
he's still making calzones.
He still is. He still is.
He's making like decorative calzones.
He makes, like Roosevelt Greer, big football player. He used to embroider, needlepoint,
yeah.
whatever it is.
And embroider.
My son does the same thing now. He's got a regular job,
But then it's his
just
hobby.
as a hobby, he does his shit, and he makes what look like to me jogging shorts. I call them banana slings. He does this, and he sells them, and I mean he'll make one.
Who's his model?
$75 to $125
A la
a
madre.
pop. He's had them on the walks. There's a big show. This gay guy that has his own
Runway show or ¿cómo se llama? La RuPaul?
RuPaul.
Yeah.
He's done stuff for some of the models on RuPaul. He's been in magazines in Europe. He does.
There you go.
How is it working with your daughter?
It's good. It's good.
Because technically, are you still the boss?
Yeah.
Technically, right?
Yeah.
Your producer,
Executive producer. Yeah.
does she know that sometimes she can't push on a boss level?
No. She's pretty. She's pretty independent. I mean, you saw her, but I mean, I would have to say that she was acting in acting camps in the summer, which kids do like when they're 11, 12. She went to acting summer camp, and she was acting in school. And then when she got out of high school, she went to Second City. She got to Second City, so it's not unfamiliar to her.
Well, I would watch her on TikTok.
Yeah.
She had a big TikTok following.
So what's unfamiliar is the idea of TV every week But then, first it was the pilot. So if you don't get past the pilot, it's over, right?
over, yeah.
So then we got past the pilot and we did the 12. And in the 12, I'd say honestly, she had a couple moments where she struggled a little bit with the amount of work and with.
But does she listen to you? She takes your advice.
I on occasion.
Because you've become a better actor.
But yeah, but I don't tell her what to do about her acting. I let the director do that. So she's and she works with an acting coach that's on the show. So she does everything that she needs to do to be prepared, and that's all that anybody could ask.
For anybody.
And I think she's good. I think she's good.
I think she's great.
If you look at her from the beginning to now, I think she's done incredibly well, and she's smart.
But it also looks like you guys are having fun.
We are having fun.
That's what for me when I watch the show, and of course, and I know this sounds weird because I know you and I'm proud of you, and I know that sounds fucking weird. And I sent you a message.
It sounds weird, yeah.
But it does sound weird.
It does sound weird.
But I am proud of a fellow Latino that I've known for 20 years.
Yes, that's true.
It
does sound weird.
So I watched the show. It looks like everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
And I loved watching the fucking old cast.
Yeah, the old cast on, amazing.
Just them walking in the door.
Amazing.
Looked fun. And I could see it on your face of like
very
everybody
emotional.
was having a fucking great time.
It was very emotional for me because...
And Ernie's a Valley kid. Ernie's from Texas.
He's from Ilsa, yeah. When we did the table read for the Christmas show, Belita was there and Valente was there, and Constance had COVID, so she wasn't there. So
and she's still buenota, dude.
Yeah. So we're reading the thing, and in the table, we do the whole scene where it says, "Well, you don't believe that it's really Christmas until there's like 10 people, family members here." So then I go to the door, and in the table read, just them two were there. And then I had to say, "Hello, family," and I couldn't say it. Like, I started crying.
Right.
And I was like...
Well, they're family. You spent years together.
I couldn't say it. It took me... I said it, but it was rough because, you've been through the whole war with those people, man. Like, it's like a military... Like when you see somebody you went to Vietnam with...
But also when
I was in the trenches with them people.
But when it's happening, you don't see it until after. Yeah. And you go, oh, man, what a... I've been driving through L.A. I had my son right here. At the hospital, St. Joseph's, right
St.
here.
Joseph's.
Man, I drove.
Is he all right?
He's great. My son.
Yeah. Oh, you had him there.
I had him.
Yeah,
we had
him. Good. Yeah.
I drove by, and when you're in the moment, you don't appreciate it. When I drove by today, I was like, oh my God, I had my son right there. Mm-hmm. To go back, right? So that for you it was like going back to, oh shit, you were probably scared, you were nervous. Every fucking rating period, you're shitting your pants.
Yep.
You're trying to figure it the fuck out. You're also trying to tour. You got every Mexican comic in the world fucking hating you.
True.
It's got to be hard.
All true.
See, if everything goes bad, I'm going to meet this gordo named Bill Carrillo.
Yeah, we'll do a fucking podcast together.
Yeah, I kept it together pretty much. I mean,
But again, going back to your path.
But to see her, but again, to your question, I just want to make, but to see her every day and to see her doing what she's doing, it makes me incredibly proud. Like I've never seen...
Well, not only
I've
that,
never been happier or prouder.
You saw these kids grow up.
Yeah. And I saw mine grow up, and to see her do her thing is really incredible. I never would have imagined.
It's crazy that it's become Americana, that fucking song.
Yeah.
Right? That song, your intro song, has become associated with George Lopez.
Right.
What, Lowrider?
Lowrider.
Yes.
You fucking hear Lowrider, and the first thing that pops in my head is George Lopez. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy to put that into people's psyche?
Yes.
And it's not just me.
It is crazy.
That's insane, dude.
It is crazy. It was my ringer on my phone, and they're like, "No way, come on!" I was like, "What ringer else? What else would it be?"
And then you get shit because they're like, "Well, they're not even Latino." Well, fuck, I'm sorry, dude. It's a great song.
I'm gonna tell you this: War was not Latino, but in the music of that summer, if you're old enough to remember, '73. It didn't matter if they were Latino. It only matters now. Like back then, War was all African American guys, man, and they were fucking great. And Brenton Wood and all those vatos. Like, nobody ever thought, oh man, those dudes are black. It didn't matter in music, man.
That's what I love about Freddie Fender, man. I'm so proud.
I just learned today about
Texas.
War that
they were fucking
George
amazing,
Santana
man.
was Carlos's brother. I had no idea that they were brothers.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. I just learned that right now.
They didn't talk for a while.
Really?
In 2000, a few years ago when they opened up the arena in San Francisco, Santana did it and War did it, and I went over there to be with Carlos, and Jorge was there. So Jorge had a guitar. He was telling me about there's all these Japanese guitar knockoffs like that are Fenders and all, but they're from Japan. And
Who's saying this?
Jorge Santana. Me and him are sitting backstage. He was alive. And we're sitting backstage talking, took a picture of us. We got the guitar. I'm playing the guitar. And he's like, I'll get you one. And I didn't run
The
into...
knockoff, not the good ones.
But he said they're just as good, but they're knockoffs, right? But they're just as good. Like
Same guitar.
Same guitar. And he go, I'll get you one. And I didn't talk to him after. And when he passed, he sent me a message on Facebook, which I never changed. I never checked Facebook. But he had the picture and had a guitar. I got you. It was the sweetest message from that night, and he'd already passed.
Fuck.
So I got the message and I sent it to Carlos. And Carlos was like, thank you for sending this to me because I got to see what my brother was like.
How long did they not talk?
They would talk. They got it back together, but they didn't still see each other a lot.
Just because of touring,
Yeah,
or
because he was
made a
Jorge
comment.
Santana. It was Carlos Santana.
So, the guy that was interviewing him says, I had a brother that played the guitar, and he was my bigger brother. He says, when I asked him for it, he said, get away from me, kid. He says, what was it like? And George says, that was the same way it was with Carlos. Carlos didn't want to help him when he was a kid. He said,
but I also understand brothers. Like, yeah, fuck off. You're my little brother.
And that's what it was.
But it gives you drive too when you're the little brother.
It's
You're like,
supposed
well,
to.
fuck you, chinga su madre. I'm gonna get fucking good at this.
It's
shit.
supposed to.
Right?
Yeah.
But they didn't talk. But also, talking about dice with comedy, when kids stop playing for score and stop winning and losing, it changed kids.
Everything
Like everybody got a trophy.
Yeah.
changes
It
everything.
changed kids when you don't have to keep score or you didn't have to try as hard.
Participation trophy only.
In sports, when I played sports, I never won a championship, but I came close. But not winning and seeing those other motherfuckers win, and then you come in second place or not make the play or whatever, made me want to get better. And if everybody would have gotten a trophy back then, I'm not sure.
It's not the same feeling.
I'm not sure what the fuck would have happened to us.
It's not the same feeling.
In something, and I wasn't going to get that lesson from my grandmother or grandfather, but the guys that, not all your friends can be on the same team. So some of your friends are on one team and some of your friends are on another team. And you're on one team and they beat you. They're like, we beat you. Or you play them in the championship game and they beat you and you want to come back and you lose again and you lose
You talk
again.
shit and yep.
If that doesn't
Fire.
inspire you to
Fire.
do fucking be better, not keeping score and everybody getting a trophy will never do that.
Never. Yeah, and like my son, I coach Little League. He's an amazing little baseball player, and he makes a great play. And I've always told myself, my face is not going to change whether he makes a good play or a bad play. I'm not going to get super excited. I'm not going to get super mad. Same face. So the parents come up to me and they go, man, your son's amazing. He made a great play. Why don't you congratulate him? I go, I'm not going to congratulate him for something he's supposed to do.
There you go.
He's supposed to be good. He's supposed to do his job. He's supposed to be great. I go, but notice that when he does bad, I don't get mad at him. It's the same face.
You try.
Yeah, hey, buddy, you tried. Let's go. I always tell him, fix it. Can you fix it?
Right.
And then now the whole team has kind of, all the dads have kind of adopted that kind of atmosphere of just fix it. I ain't mad. I'm not upset.
Do you tell them you love them?
Every day.
God bless you.
Every day. I squeeze him. I never got hugs. I squeeze him. I let him know
Now, when I
love him.
played in San Bernardino Little League, Mr. Martinez, pinche borracho, like a skinny, he looked like Slowpoke Rodriguez, the Speedy Gonzalez friend. And he always wore a suit, little flaquito.
So with your grandma raising you, how did you end up in baseball? Like, would she do
my
it?
friend,
or-
no, because she'd pay, but my friends played baseball, so I
So
would
you
bring
just
home the
tag
paper.
along with them and...
And he would go, he goes, come on, Louis! Fucking across the park, come on, Louis! And Louis would be batting a little dude with a big helmet. It's, come on, Louis!
And how the fuck did you find golf?
And every time he would go like this, shut up, I know what I'm doing, to his dad.
How the fuck did you find golf?
I found golf from my friend Ernie. But I watched golf on TV because I got up early in the British Open, and you would be like, "Well, this fucking golf is on." So I watched golf there in the mornings, and I just found it from watching TV on the weekends. And then you'd see Lee Trevino, and you see Nicholas, and you see all those guys, right? Watson, all those guys. And then in 1981, on Christmas Day, I was already done. What was I, 81-20? And he calls me up around 11:15. He goes, "What are you doing?" I still remember. I'm not doing shit. He goes, "Let's go play golf." I'm like, "Where?" El Carrizo. I'm like, dude, we don't have any golf clubs. He goes, "I called over, man. They'll rent us some." But they're not even open. They're open. They'll rent us clubs. So we went, me and him.
Just fuck it.
And we went. There was nobody there. And
What happened to Ernie?
He passed away in last April.
So he introduced you to golf.
He introduced me to everything that I do back then. He introduced me to comedy.
Did he have a dad?
Yes, and a mom and a sister, 2 sisters, 1 younger, 1 older, and 2 brothers. And the thing that's
So
amazing
he was a
about that-
big influence on you not having a dad.
Yes, and also he had other friends. Like he didn't need to be my friend because he had other friends. and I was always alone, just me and my grandmother and grandfather. And he would come over and be my friend. So in the beginning, he got me into comedy. He was the guy that said, let's go to the Comedy Store. And then he got me into golf. He got me into guitars, and he got me into Richard Pryor. Like one dude. I don't even know if I would have found those things on my own. But he gave me the 4 paths that I'm still on.
Right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You got to miss him.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Because he's the homie from the homies, the homies.
That's my first friend ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a trip because I wasn't talking to him toward the end, but also he had his own life. And, he was a little flaky, man. But I think it was meant to be. I would always wait for him to go to the Comedy Store when we were 18. And then if he called me and say, hey, man, I'm not going, I wouldn't go.
Because you're like, no, you got to come with me.
Yeah, I had to have somebody come with me. But then after...
It's gotcha hanging out by yourself, dude.
And after a while, I started to think, well, what's going to happen if this dude fucking doesn't go with me? I'm going to I'm not going because so I started to go by myself, and that's...
When did you make the Ice House your home?
I started going to the Ice House.
Motherfucker, dude. When I was coming up, he was the king. He would have they had shrines of this motherfucker, 48 sold out fucking shows in a row, shit like that.
The Ice House was like 84, 85, maybe. And I started to MC.
But you think that's because you weren't at the Comedy Store, you were at the Ice House, kind of kept the industry off of you?
I made it a point to stay away from the Comedy Store and to stay away from the Laugh Factory and the Improv. So I just hung around the Ice House and tried to get as good as I could be before I went over to those places. And when I did finally go to those places, I didn't go to the Comedy Store, but I went to the Improv, which is a tough room. But then when I went to the Laugh Factory, I was killing everybody.
Because back then they would do, I always say when I moved to town, I never felt racism in Texas. It wasn't until I moved here. I moved here.
Yeah, but how are you racist against you?
Oh, because I moved here and all of a sudden it was, oh, great, you can do Mexican Monday at Laugh Factory. You can do Taco Tuesday at the Comedy Store. You can do Refried Friday at the Improv. I'm like, I just want to do comedy.
Right.
Can I just do stand-up? I'm a stand-up just like they're a stand-up. And George was a big inspiration for me because I remember watching you and I thought to myself, I can't do Mexican humor because nobody will ever be as good as George. So I don't want to compete with George. I don't want to do my mom, my dad, the Mexican humor because this motherfucker covered everything.
You did.
So he inspired me to go, I'm not doing that because I can't fucking touch this guy. And George Lopez is George Lopez, and I'm going to start doing my wife, my life different because... And I tell these young comics, I'm like, bro, George was doing that joke. I watch him, and I'm saying their punchlines. I'm like, guys, you're doing George Lopez jokes that I've seen George do already. And George wrote them and was doing it at a time when nobody was.
What about when they make a meme and they use 7-Up or a hot dog and a piece of bread? I did that as stand-up
30
years ago, yeah.
Right.
Where they go, my grandmother didn't buy hot dog buns. So I said, it's bread. It's the same shit. Look at this, George. Bread, hot dog bun. She folds it. Bread, hot dog bun. It's the same shit.
So I also understood as I got older why you didn't want Latino comics opening. Because it was this, they were trying to do you, and then now you got to go up and do you.
Everybody that I used.
Am I right or wrong?
You're 100%. Everybody that I used that was Latino or say, of color, eventually started to inherit some of my traits. In the way that they talked, in the names that they used, and in the sense of their delivery. And I would look at Ann and I would go, there's another one, because they would have the same cadence that I had that they didn't have until they started working with me.
But it's also hard because for us, I always laugh when, these young black comics, they go, oh my God, this young black comic, he does all these great impressions of these famous black people. And I go, well, I don't have any famous Latinos to do impressions of.
Yeah.
But George and Paul. That's it. I got 2. So, of course, I'm not going to be a good impressionist.
You're a good Paul.
Hey, you know what? Hey, sometimes, ¿sabes qué, vato?
Sounds like
I'm so tired of George Lopez, bro.
He is tired of me.
But it is, for me, I thought to myself, I will never be able to do what this man does as good as him. It's impossible. I was born in fucking 78. He's walking on stage in 78. Yeah. How the fuck am I going to catch up to this guy?
But I think maybe I wasn't always the most helpful individual back then. But what I have done is I've left a template on how to do shit. and then it's somebody's duty to go and do it.
Exactly.
Correct.
And
Exactly.
that's the legacy. Is I left the legacy for guys to follow the fucking crumbs that the path that was there.
You crack the door. It's our job to kick it open.
Go get it.
Don't blame me for what he didn't give me. Get up off your ass and do it.
Well, I've changed.
It's that simple. You had to do it without somebody leading you, and now it's.
But it is up to us to the Ralph Barbosas of the world to turn around and go, hey man, I want to make the path for you easy.
But nobody knows who that motherfucker is. What are you saying his name, man?
Look, I think he's great, and I'm doing
Is that
it
wrong to say, Aaron?
I'm doing exactly what I'm preaching. Is
What do you mean you don't
can
know
we
him?
bring this kid up? Right?
Have you heard of him? Okay. Is it wrong for me to say, why do you keep bringing his name up and nobody knows who he is?
It's funny to me.
And I don't mean it mean. I'm saying.
The man on the payroll.
No,
Hey,
but,
whatever you say,
I mean,
George.
but you look out for yourself. That's what we look out for yourself.
But I also want to look out for others, and I also want to make the path.
I don't think
easier.
that's a right. I don't think that's the right. I don't think that's the right thing.
I look out for myself and my family, of course, but I also want to make the path easier for the next guy.
You know what? I think that's.
You don't think so?
I don't.
No, I really don't. You made the path. You've got to secure that path. You're not helping him if you're making the path easier for him.
There you go.
He's got to make his own path. He's got to make
And
it
not
right.
even Ralph. I don't know who he is.
And I don't want to make him suffer, but you're not doing him anything by making it easier.
I disagree. I mean, you look at Richard Pryor, who championed Eddie Murphy, who, when Eddie Murphy walks into...
I don't think he did.
He did. And when Eddie Murphy walks into ABC and says, hey, that's fucking Earthquake, I think he's fucking great, he needs an opportunity, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that that's a good look, and I think that it helps. You putting me on this show helps me.
But also, if you don't deliver,
I
I
appreciate
can't
it.
help you.
I don't disagree, of course.
Like if you can
do
deliver,
the work. I don't help those that don't help themselves.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that becomes the thing.
But like I said, I don't help those that don't help themselves. I'm looking for that young guy that's working hard, that's trying to make it. If I can get him to open
But
for
you're
me,
fucking trying to make it. Like, why are you trying to help some dude that's trying to make it? Like, you need to make it.
I made it. Life's good.
So you don't want to go any higher than
Of
where
course
you are
I
right
want to
now.
go higher. Of course. And I'm going to continue to go higher.
I'm not in the business, but if you want to go higher, then I would believe, just like in anything else, every other aspect
Well,
of
if you're
life,
not in the business, why
you
you
got to
giving fucking advice?
concentrate. You got to concentrate on making yourself. You want to go higher?
look, 1,000%.
Then concentrate on yourself, making yourself higher.
Of course. And I'm on stage every single day, getting better, getting stronger, getting funnier.
If that's what's going to make you.
I will say something about you. First of all, I don't think you should be worried about anybody else, especially
Especially some gordo who's not in the
fucking
business.
Jeremy Jeremy Barbasol. That's his name. I don't know who he is. I don't mean any disrespect, but I don't know who he is. But also, when they come, I think you have to prepare for the future and not expect somebody to come and get it. Like if you say, hey, I have a treatment with me and my wife, we're parents, our kids are, we gave them too much already, they're young. How are we going to prepare them for the real life? And you and your wife do this thing. It's I Speak Wife. I like I Speak Wife as a title.
I think it's a great title. Yep.
I love.
And you got friends. You work in whatever is common.
I wrote a script. I'll send it to you.
All right.
It is me and my wife working together, and I am a marriage therapist, and she is my secretary.
Do you think that's a right profession for you as an actor?
It's hard because
I think it has to be generally around something, right?
Well, and again, I trust your expertise as well. Right?
When they came to me for the first show and they said, "Well, what are you going to do? What's the show going to be about?" And I said, "This how simple. This how I worked with my grandmother at RCA, became Sperry and Van Nuys, right? I worked with my grandmother worked there forever, and she got me a job there, and we made that." Powers Brothers Aviation. They made landing gear.
Right.
We went to an aviation place in Sylmar and saw a real place, saw a guy that was a boss, saw the workers, and then we made that the place where I worked at an airplane parts place.
Right.
And I worked with my mom. And the pilot was that my mom was checking in her friends, which my grandmother would do, checking her friends, punching her friends.
Right. I remember that.
And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm punching in my friends, but they're not here yet. Shut up. And
You have a decision.
I became the boss, or they moved me up, not to the boss, but I became a supervisor, whatever. And the first day was the day where I had to be a supervisor for everybody I worked with, and my mom was punching in everybody. And then the bosses came to me and said, you have to fire your mom.
A la madre. Right.
Just to see if I was management material. And at the end of the show, I said, I fired you. She said, I quit. I fired you. I quit. And the whole dynamic was, the truth was, it just laid out that we worked together, this and that. And then Bruce came up with, because we were stuck for like a week, what's the end? And Bruce came up with, you have to fire your mom. And they testing you to see if you have the balls to do it. And I did it, and then she said she quit, and then we got that big fight. That was the end of the pilot. But that worked.
Right.
And even we used to go to 7-Eleven and put Seagram 7 in a Slurpee cup and go back to work. It looked like we were drinking a fucking Slurpee with Seagram 7.
Right.
And in the pilot, I said, hey, at lunch, don't go over and bring up those things and put alcohol in them and try to pretend it's a Slurpee. So I used the real thing. And then Thirsties was the bar we went to. There was a Thirsties in Santa Monica, which was
that bar was right here.
a titty bar. A titty bar. And it was down the street. We used the one. But I kept it all to what was my life.
Well, I mean,
around my
that's
life.
why me and my stand-up, a lot of people call me a marriage therapist, right? A lot of people go, man, we come to your show for therapy. So how do I...
But what if you're just talking to your friends outside and you're like a therapist to your friends outside?
That too. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not a therapist, but you're like a dude that says, "No, my wife, man, she's crazy. Hey, my wife told me to do what you do. You got to do this."
But we lived it in the episode.
And then you go into the episode.
Right. No, I love that too. No, absolutely. I mean, look.
Because if you're a marriage therapist, you're stuck. But if you're a dude that they come and see you and they say, "Hey, man, who's this dude? I was telling you about the guy from
we're
work,
hanging
man,
out. Right.
that his wife is, oh man, how come? Because of this and that. You know, I speak wife. You came to the right place. Do this, and then you go do it.
I've also been smart enough in my career to know what I don't know. And I've always been able to take somebody like George, who's now on, show number 4, and go, well, this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. I'm willing to listen and learn from somebody that has already gone through the process with, by the way, Bruce Helford, who's a fucking genius. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I would love to show you the script and then have you go, let's do this, let's do that. Well, that's what a producer does, you know.
You know, in the 90s, when Drew Carey was doing his show with Bruce Helford,
the old time days.
I would tell Ann, and Drew Carey was like number 1 on ABC, and I would tell Ann, where's my Bruce Helford? Like, I would be like, what the fuck is, where's my Bruce Helford? Only two people that I wanted to work with and do shows with. One was Bruce. We did the first show, and he's involved in this show. And the other one was Matt Williams, who did Home Improvement and worked on Bill Cosby. And Matt Williams is a fucking genius. He retired. He lives back up in New York. But that guy is incredibly smart TV. I did St. George with him. And I read for him at Disney on a Friday night around 7 o'clock. And he was nice to me. I went to his office. I didn't get the part. I think it was for Home Improvement. I didn't get the part. And he was nice to me, and I left. And I remembered, man, that guy's fucking great. That little beige, all sweater, like a cardigan. He had his old.
Oh, that's when you know they have Mondays, right? When they're in sweats, the whole thing.
And those two guys I did the show with. So it's everything is possible.
Everything's possible.
And it can come out of nowhere. Like I didn't have this idea for this show. Debbie did. So mine's TikTok.
Yeah.
And did that where.
I don't know if you remember. I was with you opening at Cap City in Austin.
Yep.
And you were like, I gotta go. Sandra's picking me up, and I'm gonna go hang out with Sandra Bullock. And I was like, holy shit. And at that time, she was dating Bob Schneider, the musician.
That's right.
And George was like, later, puto. And I'm like,
that's right.
You know, but it was so cool.
We went to go see Bob, yeah.
It was so cool to see all of that happening for you. But as much as people tell me, wow, you've made it, right? They tell me that. Oh, you're doing so great. I don't feel that. I feel this.
I thought you were content, cabrón.
I'm happy in my family. I'm happy with my marriage. I'm happy with the roof over my head and making money. But I have this fire inside me to continue to work.
If you were a baseball player, would you be happy only making it to the AA?
No, I got to go to the pros.
You got to get a shot.
1,000%. I deserve to be there. I deserve to be there 1,000%. And when I go to next week, I'm in fucking Reading, PA, sold out. And there's 3 other dates in PA, completely sold out. And I'm sitting there going, oh, look, I deserve to have that show. I deserve to have that movie.
What day do you leave?
You know, not till Monday morning.
Oh, you leave Monday morning?
Yeah. Which, by the way, I just read for a movie that you're in with Eva Longoria. You were already, I think you're already cast in it, and I just read for it. They love me, not for that part, so maybe I get another part. So I'm excited about it.
What part is it?
I was supposed to play. Well, the part I read for was Eva Longoria's husband.
And how come you're not right for it?
I don't know. We got a note from CAA saying that we love him, we think he's great, we think he's hilarious, we might have something else for him in the movie. We don't think he's that guy. But that's been my whole career. Like, I can't tell you how many times I walk into an audition and they go, "You're not Mexican," and I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Do you think that you should? Well, how could you be Mexican? You think you should put some?
I need a fucking leaf blower. What do I need? What do I need? But again,
What would make him?
how many times
Hey,
I
don't know. When you see him, do you see Mexican?
Yeah.
How
You?
come? Because of his shirt? Because he has a hickey?
Oh, this is my own shirt brand, by the way, George.
It is. You have your own shirts?
Yep.
Okay, you have to say. What is that?
I got
Shirt?
some for you, both you guys. I'm going to send them
What
out
is
for
that
you
on
guys.
what is that on the inside?
It's the Guayabera.
Oh,
It's the Mexican Guayabera,
Mexican Guayabera.
with a Western yoke.
Yeah.
It's my Tex-Mex shirt. So, it says Trevi on the back. See that right there?
that's
Yeah.
Oh, that's
there you
brilliant.
go.
Yeah.
I got them in black, white,
He's got the
pink.
boots.
Yep. Pues hello. Custom.
All right. You want a part of that movie? I'll call Marvin. Did you
I would
read for
love
the
to,
director,
man.
or you read for?
I did the video on it and sent it in. So they've already seen it. I'd love to be in that movie. I think my kid would love to see me in that movie.
All right. It's a good book too, right?
It's a great book, and I had no idea. I told my wife, I go, I don't know what this is, and she goes, "You've read that book," and she showed me the book. I'm like, "Oh my god, I read that to my son all the time." You know, well, not anymore. He's 7. He's too cool now. He's big
see.
time. Yeah.
Let's see if I could do that.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun. And
I
even
was already-
Longoria's from Corpus.
I was already in it though, but it's adapted from a kid's book.
Yeah.
That is a great kid's book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Alexander and
Terrible Day.
Terrible Day.
Of Alexander.
And the guy Marvin who did Hentified is directing the movie. Big movie for him. Wow, Disney Plus.
And he's a
movie.
Texas guy, right?
Yes.
That's what I heard. He's a Texas guy.
And it's his first directing part.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So let's see if I can't get you in there.
Well, they love me, I think. Yeah, but you never know. I mean, look.
Look at fucking Trump Jr. over here. They love me.
They all say it.
I'm great. I've learned, and I think, George, you probably feel the same way. I do the best I can, and then I just leave it in the past.
But have you taken acting lessons?
I have taken acting lessons with Leslie Kahn here in town, and my wife, you know, because she went to Tisch.
Yes, yeah.
You know, me and her are always doing scenes because I started taking it serious in the past few years.
But comedians that can be good actors. Rick Gutierrez,
Anyway.
that dude we did a movie with that guy, and he was very good.
Oh, Rick, how's he doing? I haven't talked to that guy in a million years, man. Old Rick Gutierrez.
But I, you know, yeah, you have success, but
I feel like I'm where you were right before you got your show.
You want to, right? You've been to the show, right? You've been to the taping of the show.
Yes, I went to your premiere.
It's way
The first
different
shoot, yeah.
when you think of like, I think you would love it. I think you would love it.
Well,
I think you would love the opportunity. I mean, when you go over there, let's say you go over there, and like, we'll talk about. Let me say about this one. So you go in the morning. Somebody's waiting for you. You go in there. You have to do what you do. You rehearse. They have the run through today. You'll run through tomorrow for the network and the studio. And this show is good. But then also you're surrounded by good actors, and they're good, and you let them be good. And it's like today in the morning. You know, we had some issues with stuff, and you know, I brought the actors together, and then they tell me, "Hey, don't tell the actors anything. You know, you're riling them up." But they're not robots. You have to tell them a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I end up saying, "But look where we are, and look what time it is, and look where we are, and we could be doing anything in this town, and here we are."
But that
And
comes
we
with
got picked up.
confidence
We had
from
a back
you.
nine. Yeah.
Right.
So you want a leader that.
Right.
So you can say,
Been there, done that.
whatever we think we have issue-wise are nothing compared to the opportunity that we have.
Take a look around.
And you don't want to destroy that, because you can become the guy who bitches
cancer.
about everything. And I told mine, as I told everybody, a little comment here gets in the wind, and then the studio hears and the network hears, and they start
And then you're
hearing
a
that shit.
problem.
They start going, well, what are they over there? Are they working hard, or are they bitching about everything? That they not see the opportunity, or do they just want to complain every week? And that's how it gets. And we don't want to be people that complain every week.
Ratings are good?
Oh, rating solid.
Good. I'm glad. I was,
And with Peacock, which I'd have streaming the first time, so they're good already. Like SWAT beats us by just.
So how does that work?
0.1.
Do they add both?
It comes on Friday and then it goes to Peacock the next day. And then when it's on Peacock, it triples the ratings.
That's what I was going to ask.
That's what all the kids watch.
They
streaming.
watch it on. If I were to watch it here, and there's 2 million that watch it here, then there's 3 million that watch it.
7 million, 8 million.
That's fucking awesome. Well, you know, and when I watch
and they're watching for for Mayan and her boyfriend and those things like dealing with anxiety or dealing with this or not speaking Spanish. You have a kid that doesn't speak Spanish. So the stories are of not necessarily about me so much as they are about being younger and then the grandson. So I'm the anchor, but the stories are really about them.
I was impressed in your humility and the fact that you were willing to play somebody that was unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. That's, you know, when I watched the pilot, I was a little hesitant to, all right, where's George going to go with this? The beginning of the show, I'm like, okay, couple great jokes, boom, boom, boom. That last scene, or the last, what do they call it? The last, I'm blanking out.
The last act, yeah.
The last act, when it all comes together with you being a cagapalos
Yep.
and your daughter coming in and
Yeah.
you admitting, hey, I have fucking problems.
Right.
That to me was very admirable, and got to be a little bit hard for you to be as successful as a man as you are, to be able to take a step back and go, okay, I have to play somebody that's a loser.
It's a little bit tough, and I think that with some things that have been.
Was that your idea, or whose idea was that?
The idea was to have it be about the years that we didn't talk, and getting back to being in each other's lives. But I would say that.
But it mirrored a little bit of your life.
It mirrored a little bit of life.
Being on the road and.
Yes, but also I would say that it's a little bit harder on my end than the actual part of it. I would say, but it works for the TV.
Well, and I learned from actually watching your daughter on TikTok that you and your ex-wife have a great relationship. Ish.
I don't know, man.
Because on TikTok, she's always like, they act like they're not fucking married, but they still act like they're fucking married.
Yeah.
You know, so I also enjoyed the realism of the ex-wife
Right.
being in it, and because at the end of the day, it has to have heart.
But
Has to
that's
have
right.
fucking
And
heart.
at the end of the day, that's all you have. Like when they take that show away, I mean, are Maya and I going to be talking? I would hope so.
Right.
And today I walked her out, or we walked after, and yeah, it's not. You think when you dream about a show that it's everything, and it's something, but it's not everything. But it's everything you can get out of it, but it still shouldn't be everything. Like it shouldn't be your whole life, but it should be part of your life, but not everything. And in the beginning, I thought it was everything, and I thought I was the boss. I wasn't, and I thought it was a family, and it wasn't, and I thought it was, it wasn't anything other than a sitcom. That with people working on the sitcom that have worked other shows, and they'd leave for a better offer, so you can't get glued to them or say, hey.
Right. They want me to do this show over here at the. And you go, you know what? I get it.
I told
Don't
mine,
fucking get
hey,
paid.
we're like a family. I said, well, that's not true. We're just
Get ready.
They're working,
Yeah.
and let's do our work, and let's not make something that's not. Let's just let everybody do their jobs.
Right.
And that's different from. I learned that from the first show, where I tried to be fucking Willy Wonka, make everybody happy. You can't make everybody happy.
Can't. Well, and I told my wife, I go, the one thing, one of the reasons I want to show is because I do deserve it, and I've worked hard for it, and I think I have a show.
I think you should have a chance at it.
And I think I should have a chance at it, or an at bat, but I also want to miss stand up.
Right.
There's weeks where I fucking go, and of course I perform, and of course I give the audience everything I have.
But
because
I know what you're going to say. But it is tough for people to. It is tough for a comedian to be on that.
it's hard, man, and there are weeks where I'm like, fuck, another show? Fuck, man, I'm just going to go drink.
Right.
I can't wait to get this show done because I'm not at home. I'm
true.
stuck in a fucking hotel room. I'm just going to get smashed tonight. We call it Blackout Friday because fuck it. I'm a blackout tonight because I'm away from my family. I want to miss. So when I take a week off or 2 weeks off and I get on that fucking stage, the fire that comes out of me, the excitement, and then I'm on edge because I'm like, oh shit, do I remember my bits?
Right.
And I'm a little sharper. So I told my wife, I go, man, a movie break or a TV show break so that I could be creative in another way.
Yeah.
So that when I come back to stand up, I'm fucking jazzed.
Have you ever done a movie?
Never done a movie. Never done a TV show. No. But that's also my fault.
But also, when I was 20 years in, I'd never done a TV or a movie or a movie or TV show.
Right.
So I was 81, 99, 8, 98.
But I had the same idea you had where I go, I'm going to become a great stand-up.
Right.
That's my goal. All my friends were over there with fucking headshots and auditioning commercials, and I'm over there going, no. Y'all go do that. I'm going to get on stage.
You know what I used to say? When you're good, they'll find you.
That's what I fucking say, the same shit. Yeah.
I thought it was like the same for football. Like you see players that come out of these colleges, or Scottie Pippen came from like South Arkansas college.
Yeah, if you're a bad motherfucker, they're going to find you.
If you're funny, they'll find you.
Yep.
They'll find you because they'll have to.
And it's cool to get these phone calls and people reaching out going, oh my God.
Has CAA done a good job, you think?
I just got with them.
Okay.
So far, so good. They got me the audition for the movie, the movie that you're already in. There's another audition, and I probably can't say the name of it, but there's another audition they got me, which I'm.
But you know what? I don't want to see the script. I want to see 2 pages of what you think you have.
Okay, like a treatment.
That's all I want to see. I want to see the premise.
Yep.
And I think it's you and your wife and the kids and friends. Almost like King of Queens. I see almost like King of Queens.
I always say that I'm the Latino Kevin James.
I think it's King of Queens. So let's see, because also Dice Clay had a show, Bless His House.
Oh, yep.
With Kathy Moriarty and Dice. Bruce Helford did that show.
Yep. I didn't know Bruce did that.
And it came out and it was good. It was really good. But Dice was a comedian at that time, and he didn't understand the politics of the sitcom. And he didn't like Bruce. He was calling him names and this and that. But the show got off to a good start. I watched it. It was calling Bruce names. Yep. And he was bitching the whole time because he was a comedian, and now you're in a sitcom format, but you're also in a sitcom format with the dude that did Roseanne.
Yeah, one of the biggest shows of all fucking time.
He was a big showrunner. And then you're degrading your showrunner, which I've never done to Bruce. Right. Bruce and I saw him yesterday. Gave a Christmas birthday present.
I always tell people, the smartest thing ever happened to me was people told me I was dumb. That's been the biggest blessing. Because if I feel dumb, I go, tell me what to do. Tell me how to do it.
He was fucking bagging on Bruce, talking about the script. The script ain't shit. It ain't shit until you film it. So in the beginning, there's rewrites, this and that. Might not go the way you wanted.
And he's bitching first, and complaining.
But it's on the air. He calls Les Moonves up on the weekend, the president of CBS.
Yeah, the Les Moonves, right.
And Les Moonves on Monday cancels the show because you don't call the president of CBS in Malibu at his house, wherever, on the weekend to complain about Bruce Helford. And Les Moonves said, well, maybe this show's not worth having on because you got this guy fucking calling me at home.
Well, Ronnie Carrington did the same thing.
And they canceled it. Yep. And you know what show is just like Bless His House? King of Queens.
No shit. Well, Ronnie Carrington did the same thing. He's got a show on the air, and then he decided...
He was with me at ABC. He was after me.
He decided to get on Bob and Tom and bitch about ABC, and ABC was like, ¿sabes qué?
Well,
chinga su madre.
I never did that.
Yeah. Well, you can't. It's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
And I always tell my agents, I go, look, guys, I need that one thing. That one fucking thing. That's all I need.
All right. You know what Cheech told me in like 99? Cheech said that you need to get that one thing. And once you get one thing, you turn that thing into another thing.
And then it just snowballs.
And in 99, 2000, I got Bread and Roses, that independent film about the janitors in L.A., and I had the part of the...
That was in 99?
99. And then it went to the Cannes Film Festival. So the first movie I did went to Cannes. And then I called Cheech after I got it. I said, I got the one thing. And from that one thing, everything came after that.
That's crazy.
From the one thing.
Well, then Sandra's sister saw you, right?
No, she had a producer guy that I still talk to, but she came and saw me. Sandra came and saw me at the Improv in Brea in... like August of 2001.
I just remember 1 minute George is in Dallas at the Addison Improv, which is one of my favorite rooms to this day.
Yeah.
One of my favorite rooms to this day. It's 320 seats. They'll tell you it's 250. But that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But George selling it out, and there was an energy about it, yes. 6 months later, they announced the show. George is doing the Majestic.
That's right.
I go to the Majestic.
I remember that.
And it was a whole nother fucking feel. Mm-hmm. It went from that's George Lopez to holy shit, that's George Lopez. And it was in 6 months.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yep.
It was the most unbelievable feel. And I loved it because I saw it at the Addison Improv. And then when I went to and you let me open.
Right.
You let me open. And then I saw it at the I was like, holy this is different. And again, you also, people don't realize how difficult fame is. That's another thing that people don't realize. People don't realize how hard it is to. I used to say, man, why do these fucking guys need limos? And why the fuck are they hiding in the green room? And man, George came to the Ice House. He didn't even say hi to us. He just went straight to the green room. Now I understand. Now I get it. Now I go, well, fuck, if he said hi to me, then he's stuck outside saying hi to fucking everybody.
Yeah.
And then the guy can't go to bed.
Right.
The guy's going to come to the Ice House and spend 4 fucking hours talking to people when he just wants to do a show and go home.
Right.
So now I get it. So it's taken a lot for me to step into your shoes and understand what you've been through and what you're going through. Right?
It's
You're looking at your watch.
It's different, I know.
Yeah, quiere dormir, 6:30.
No VHS tonight. No, nothing.
VHS.
No, but I mean,
Every night I see Gil watching his documentary.
but I mean, it's but there's a lot of guys that get there and come back, and of all colors. And I would see those guys at the Laugh Factory, like they would say, "Hey, I got a development deal," and they go get it, and they come
pop,
back. They're not
and-
even development deals anymore. You get an opportunity, but you have to have something prepared, or you're not even going to get a bite. Like they're not going to write. It's better to have something for you than to them think of something for you.
Right.
I had a guy that wrote on Cheers, I think Dan Shaughnessy or somebody like that I went to go meet at Paramount, and the note back to my agents were, he doesn't write for Latinos. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, just write.
Are we people? Is it funny? Right.
Just write. Bruce never said, I don't write for Latinos. Bruce is like, whatever George writes down, we'll work around it. And he even called Peter Roth, the president. He said, you have to make this guy a creator, because what I have is not what he's giving us. And he's giving us the whole show, and I don't feel right putting my name as a creator without, because they don't make first-time
show
people
guys, right?
creators, because that's where the money is. And he fought for me to be a creator and for my points in the show, and that's.
Well, because you were. I mean, you were.
He
You
said,
were.
I-
You
he
were
said-
that voice.
He said, I'm not. This isn't me. I can't. This is him. The mom was my grandmother. The wife was my wife. Ernie
By
was
the
my
way,
best friend.
what a brilliant cast with your mom, with your grandma. Well, who played your mom?
Yes,
Because
amazing.
that
She was
woman-
a SMU, Dallas theater actress.
Phenomenal actor.
Went to school, acted incredible.
Trained
actress.
Tom Cruise. Trained.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's-
Amazing, and a great person to be around.
And then all Ernie was the dude from Blood In, Blood Out.
That's right.
He was the cholo from Blood In, Blood
Good
Out.
solid actor.
So, he was great in Aaron Brockovich.
That's right. And even when the show started, since they were all kind of actors, they were a clique in themselves. Like they would go have lunch without me. Like I would go to my room, but they would go have lunch and come back as a clique and then go back out as a clique. And I was like, all right, these motherfuckers are like,
They're their thing.
they're there. It's that thing. And then they said, well, you can't count on anything because this is TV and we've had TV opportunities before, so you can't count anything. I said, you know what, motherfucker, you can count on this.
Let's do it.
I'll fucking tell you can count on this. We'll see.
But it's
when
history.
we got picked up for the back nine, they never looked back until we were done. 120.
Y'all did 120?
We got this one, the back nine. I would think the same thing. I would think that we're not going to look back until we're over 100.
Let's knock it out.
Knock it out.
That's awesome.
And in that, which I didn't do the first time because I was sick, had kidney disease, but in this time, I'm going to produce other shows. Like those two girls that were in here, remember Aaron? Yeah. The two girls that you can't tell if they want dick or not.
Yeah.
Si le gustan or no.
I think they might suck a dick, but you never know.
And George just
Como
got
le gustan las
canceled.
mujeres, but you know.
You never know.
if you see a
Scissors
palito,
or lo que es.
I mean, if you saw it, would you pull it or would you repel?
Who cares?
So who cares? So they remember we told about the show. Yeah. Aaron, you probably don't give a fuck. He's a fucking Bill Burr's coming to the fucking.
But it's cool to see Al Madrigal on your show.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy that's doing big things in TV and movies, and all things comedy. It's all fucking
Right.
Al, man. The guy's a monster.
So is he doing things in movies? Is he doing big things in movies?
He was in Morbius with Jared Leto.
Yeah, he was a cop in Morbius. Yep. He was Ben Affleck's sidekick in The Way Back. Yeah.
Two fucking blockbusters. Did you see those?
No.
No. I know, I'm kidding. But Al's amazing. But also those two girls that they met here and they were from the same area. They didn't know each other. Remember I told them to go right?
Yeah.
They wrote a script and I sent it to the girl from Blue Beetle, Melissa, because she's in that age, and she said they're amazing. and this script is funny. I think we can sell that one. They just did it.
Oh, nice.
About living in
Virginia.
Charleston, yeah. And
Charleston,
they did it.
Virginia.
Everybody that comes in here, I say I'm gonna help them, but I'm gonna help you.
Well, a ver qué.
You do the treatment, and I'm gonna call Marvin about the movie.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
right.
Look, again, my journey,
And we talked a long time ago about something we didn't agree about, but I called you and we worked it out.
Absolutely, and again, it's hard to understand when you're not in the shoes. And I've always said this about you: there's nobody ever going to be funnier than you when it comes to Chicano humor. There's nobody. However, I've always felt, just like the black community, that we need to be represented everything that it means to be Latino in this country, right? And I always tell people,
and I don't begrudge. I don't have the like the template of Chicano humor. Like it's what humor is humor, whatever.
Humor is humor, and your life is your life, and my life is my
Right,
life.
that's right.
And I always tell people, look, man, I grew up with a solid Vietnam vet father, hardworking mother. We were never on welfare. We were never. I mean, we didn't have big house, but my perspective on my life is very different than yours.
I think his dad
And
is
that's
a
okay.
conspiracy theorist on his show.
Always coming over. Let me tell you what happened, mijo. Right?
They go, oh, did you hear about this? Is that what they told you it is? They're testing people, man. They're cutting parts of people's necks out and testing them. You'll see.
Yeah, there's a chip in the COVID vaccine. There's a chip, mijo.
He's anti-vax. Anti-vaxxers are conspiracy theorists.
There's a chip. They're tracking us, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's funny,
true.
man.
So
But you got to have those defined characters,
Yes.
right? That you know when that character walks in the room, boom,
That's right.
they're gonna hit a home run.
Yeah.
Right?
So
like everybody loves Raymond.
Brother. I think you look at it like that, and I think you just make it a treatment, and things get bought on treatments.
Absolutely. And look, we're at a point now where if it's good, people are gonna find it.
That's right.
And there's a million ways to find it, and they will find it.
And you have to be
I mean, who would have fucking thought Paramount Plus would have Yellowstone, one of the biggest shows?
Amazing.
But
The biggest show on TV.
biggest show on TV, people found it.
Yeah.
And
is it simple? Do you watch Yellowstone?
Yes, I do.
You watch all of them?
All of them. I'm all
It's,
caught up.
Is it good? You watch it?
It's a great show. It's I always say it's Sons of Anarchy on horses.
Okay. Which show's better, The Sopranos or Son of Anarchy?
Sopranos all
Which
day.
show's better, Yellowstone or Sons of Anarchy?
For me, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Whoa. Is Yellowstone better than The Sopranos?
No.
No, I would have to agree.
You see The Sopranos?
Tim doesn't do anything. Tim doesn't watch anything. Yeah.
Sopranos are good.
Yeah. Sopranos is great. Great show.
And Sopranos.
I love Beth.
But Yellowstone is
that?
Beth is a sucia in Yellowstone.
oh, she's badass.
Sure.
She's
Nipples
the
or no?
daughter.
Oh, yeah, they
she
show
had
nipples,
big
yeah.
Vamos a
chick
ver
that-
pelos,
yeah.
And you know what's weird about
She's
that?
ready, and she kicks ass.
She played Costner's sister in Draft Day. And now she plays his daughter.
And that guy Cole Hauser, Rip Wheeler, whatever that guy's name is.
Cole Hauser from Dazed and Confused.
Cole Hauser's been around forever.
Forever, since Dazed and Confused.
Huge star.
She come up with a line in front of Kevin Costner. That's her dad. Sitting there, says, "What am I?" I remember the time that first time I told you about when I was involved in a threesome. Now, what kind of daughter goes up and tells her old man?
What's the premise of Yellowstone?
Fuck, I don't know.
It is literally Sons of Anarchy with horses. This guy owns this ranch, and everybody's coming into town to take his fucking ranch. From the Indians, the Native Americans want it back, and all the developers are coming into Montana to take it from him, and he fucking fights them all off and kills all them motherfuckers.
He's killing people?
Oh yeah, take them to the
yeah.
train station. Chinga su madre.
Can you get away with killing people?
But
like that?
Back there you could.
again, how are there no Latinos on horses over there?
But what
Every ranch I've been to, there's fucking Mexicans on horses.
You know
every
what?
branch I've been to, the Mexicans are the horses. They carry the fucking people in their backs.
I don't worry about stuff like that. You know, I really don't.
If it's good, it's good.
It's good.
What do you mean don't worry about stuff like that? You don't give a fuck. You go to a restaurant where
I'm
they're using to cook
73.
it.
I'm 73 fucking years old. How many years left do I have to worry about shit like that?
Probably 2.
Hey, if it's
Might be a one
entertaining, if it's entertaining,
What's the over-under?
if
Cabrón,
it makes
$100.
me laugh, if it gets
So you
me
don't
turned on-
overthink it. You're just like,
No, I just watch it and accept it for what it is.
I like the they did the 1880 too, which was the
I didn't see that
prequel?
one
the
yet.
prequel.
Yeah, they're doing the
But Yellowstone is one of those. If you watch,
1893.
I haven't watched any of them. I was on did the Today Show.
Hey,
and
George got in a cowboy hat next time we see him.
Hey man, what's going on? And I did Jimmy Fallon the same day I did the Today Show with Cole Hauser.
yeah.
And when he walked in, all of your husbands were like, "Oh,
Oh, Rip. I always say I'm lowercase Rip. I'm the little baby Rip.
But it's that good that
It's a good show,
seen
man.
it, Aaron?
It's a good show.
No, I enjoy it.
It's a good show. My wife,
I'm gonna watch
she
it.
likes it. She's in love with Rip. I'm in love with Beth. Beth is a
she's a
sucia.
bad bitch, right?
She's a
bad
sucia,
bitch.
and
She
I
a big
love her.
fat
Yes, she does.
And she talks so much shit, dude.
She does.
fucking
And
puts
she's a
people in
fighter.
place. Yeah.
Fighter brought out, hey, come, let's go outside.
Dude, they torture her and she don't give a fuck. She's like,
Fucking
bring it,
gets
bitch.
out there and throws chingazos.
How much land does this guy have?
Thousands of
fuck.
acres in
and they want
Montana.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's right outside of
I
Billings.
wonder who created
it's
that
the
thing.
yellow Taylor Sheridan, who was on.
Matter of fact,
he
they
was
just-
on Sons of Anarchy.
They just announced
Oh,
that
that's a
the
good-
house that they use, the Dunn
that?
residence, that they really use in Montana, you can rent it. If you want to
he
take
was in
it,
Sicario. Yeah.
$36,000 a night.
So
For
you
what?
rent
What'd I
their
miss?
house.
Yeah, you can rent the
Oh,
house,
that
the
house.
Dunn residence. Yeah,
But it's not in Montana, right?
yeah.
Because I know they shoot a lot in Utah.
It's there. The land they give you people to work at. Everything takes $36,000 a night.
And then the dude's doing a spin-off in Texas with the 666 rant. I'm like, this guy's,
Wow.
it's fucking
I know.
unbelievable.
He's like Shonda Rhimes.
I don't know who that is. So.
She did all the, which ones? Grey's Anatomy and all the other ones.
I don't worry about all
paid
that
in
shit.
full.
Paid.
It's entertaining. I like it.
Thanks for coming by, man.
Man, it was a pleasure talking to you,
Awesome, dude.
George.
Yeah,
and,
there's still a lot more to talk about.
absolutely. And I just, man, I just love the history and the things that you've done and
Thank you,
accomplished, man.
Thank you.
And it's all well deserved. And sir, you have made it. And you are el
Thank
chingon.
you.
I'm el rey, but you're el chingon.
Let's see what we can do, man. Let's see.
I love it, man.
Well, let's start with that movie, but
We'll figure it out.
and then we'll go to the idea for the show. But I
Yes,
think it's
sir.
Sarah. I'll help you out with that one too.
You got it, man. Thank you.
Gil,
Gil, pleasure meeting you, my
Thank you.
friend.
It's a pleasure meeting you. I'm
motherfucker's 1 foot out
I'm
the door
I'm
already.
just glad I don't have to worry about all this shit. You know?